Chapter 102 Mr. Mogg, his new attracting move, _enrich. This was already the umpteenth time that Mo Chishan had told Mrs. Mo that he was rich, but Mrs. Mo never actually took his words to heart. After all, Mo Chishan had dropped out of school in his second year of high school, even disappearing for a while, and never continued his education afterwards. He didn't even complete high school, let alone university. So, at most, you could say Mo Chishan had a junior high school education. Nowadays, factories were only hiring those with at least a high school diploma. Moreover, Mo Chishan wasn't holding any positions in any of the Mo family's businesses either. So, how could a man with so much free time have any money? Don't put on a brave face in front of your mother. Put your money away. Mrs. Mo gently patted Mo Chishan's hand and said meaningfully, "My dear sixth child, I never expected you would make a big success in this life. As long as you are safe and sound, that's all that matters. Our family has lots of money, all of which I am saving for you, so you don't have to worry about the future. All Mother wants now is for you to bring back that girl from the Zhao family and give her a big, chubby grandson." Mo Chishan helplessly rubbed his nose and laughed. "Zhao Jingrong is a talented student from France. Do you think I'm good enough for her?" "Don't be absurd," Mrs. Mo scolded. "The Zhao family is very reliable and generous, and Jingrong is indeed a rare good girl. You two have been betrothed in advance, and they definitely won't renege on their promise." Mrs. Mo and Mo Fuhai were on the same page. They both placed their utmost trust in the Zhao family. Generous? The people of the Zhao family really were generous indeed. Mo Chishan chuckled and remained silent. After going upstairs, Mo Chishan made a phone call. Mo Chishan held the phone, and unlike his usual casual demeanor, he appeared composed and somber. If others were to see him now, they would surely be taken aback. When did a usually unproductive and idle person start to emanate such a powerful aura? "Hello, it's time to leak the news to the Zhao family." After uttering this sentence, Mo Chishan hung up the phone. In the blink of an eye, Mo Chishan reverted back to his usual self, as if what had just happened was merely an illusion. The next day, she had to prepare breakfast for Mrs. Mo, and Yang got up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Unexpectedly, Tsuehua had woken up even earlier. At this time, not only had Tsuehua already stoked the oven for the bread, but she had also tidied up all the stuff that Yang needed for her stall. With Kuihua's help, Yang's work was completed much faster. She first kneaded the fermented dough into the shape of bread and placed it into the oven to bake. Then she began to stir-fry. All the ingredients were prepared the night before, so all she needed to do was wash them, and she was ready to cook. While Yang was stir-frying, Tsuehua sat by the stove and kept the fire going. In no time, the small kitchen was filled with the fragrant smell of the dishes. When the dishes were done, the bread was also almost ready, and Yang made a dozen or so loaves of bread. She took 2 with her to give to Mrs. Mo, ate 1 herself, and left the remaining 7 for Tsuehua, and Chang'e. There's nothing like sipping porridge, munching on bread, and enjoying some tangy radish slices for breakfast. After breakfast, and after preparing everything, Yang set off for the morning market. At 5:30, Yang arrived at the morning market on time. Although she arrived earlier than usual that day, there were already quite a few customers waiting for her. "Little boss, you're finally here. Do you have sour plum soup this morning?" Yang smiled and replied, "Yes, I've prepared 500 servings for this morning." With everyone's help, it didn't take long for the stove and tables and chairs to be set up. Li Gongsheng arrived a bit later than usual that morning, so by the time it was his turn, he handed his thermos to Yang, excitedly saying, "Xiaoni, our old lady really loves the breakfast you make. From now on, could you please make her breakfast every day? The one who pays is the boss, and you do what the boss said." Yang took the thermos and, smiling, said, "No problem, it's my duty. Does the old lady want the usual breakfast this morning?" Li Gongsheng nodded, "Yes, and also a cup of sour plum soup." Although Head had sour plum soup before, those soups didn't taste even 1/3 as good as the one made by Yang. After a sip, Li Gongqing fell in love with that taste. It was simply amazing. When Li Gongqing arrived at the Mo family after eating his noodles, it was exactly 7 o'clock. At this time, Mrs. Mo had been waiting impatiently in the living room. Mrs. Mo. Chapter 103 Mr. Mog. His new attracting move? _2. Xiaoli. Seeing Li Gongqing, Old Lady Mo excitedly stood up. Li Gongqing handed the bag to Old Lady Mo. Old Lady, this is your breakfast for this morning. Good. Old Lady Mo immediately opened the bag, a bit disappointed. How come there's no sour plum soup this morning? Li Gongqing explained. Boss Xiaoni said that elderly people shouldn't eat too much sweet stuff, so she didn't prepare sour plum soup for you. Oh, Old Lady Mo nodded. This Boss Xiaoni does know quite a lot. Strangely, Old Lady Mo felt a warmth in her heart. It was fine that there was no sour plum soup. After all, Boss Iani's cooking skills were top-notch. Old Lady Mo now was surely an Yang's #1 fan. Li Gongqing continued. Old Lady, you eat first. They'll be going now. Yep, go ahead with your work. As soon as Li Gongqing left, Old Lady Mo opened the thermos box. The thermos box and yesterday's are in pairs. In total, there were 3 layers. The first layer was juju blanc porridge. The second layer was sour and spicy ear mushrooms. The third layer contained 2 items wrapped in oil paper. It was unclear what they were. Old Lady Mo was curious. As she unwrapped the oil paper layer by layer, a fragrant, sweet, milky aroma immediately hit her face. What met her eyes was a golden, glistening bread. The crust was crispy and the inside fluffy and delicate. As she gently broke it apart, steam could be seen emanating from inside. It smelled delicious. Old Lady Mo took a deep breath. This Xiaoni really did surprise her every morning. Old Lady Mo had eaten buns and steamed buns, as well as bread bought from outside, but this was the first time she had eaten such tasty bread. The taste, it was simply amazing. Why was she so fond of Xiaoni? Unconsciously, Old Lady Mo developed a fondness for this Xiaoni whom she had never met before. Not long after Mo Baichuan came down from upstairs, he actively greeted Old Lady Mo. Good morning, Grandma. Chuan, come here. Join your grandma for breakfast. Old Lady Mo waved at him. Mo Baichuan did as she said and walked over. Old Lady Mo handed the remaining bread to Mo Baichuan. Mo Baichuan refused lightly. I don't have an appetite in the morning, Grandma. I'm just going to watch you eat. No appetite. Old Lady Mo laughed. Chuan, I guarantee after you eat something Xiaoni made, you will immediately get your appetite back. Xiaoni? An Ayong? This was made by an Ayong? Mo Baichuan subtly squinted his eyes. An Ayong, you really have overreached yourself. Despite being indifferent to him, she managed to make his family so happy behind scenes. Wasn't this a classic case of playing hard to get? Old Lady Mo continued. Chuan, why don't you take a bite? I was just like you before, didn't have much of an appetite. But ever since I started eating food prepared by Xiaoni, it got much better. Who wants to eat something made by a woman with ulterior motives? Mo Baichuan hid all his displeasure at the bottom of his eyes, then said, Grandma, I really can't eat. All right, I have something else to do. I have to go now. Before Old Lady Mo could react, Mo Baichuan's figure had already disappeared outside the door. This damn kid. Old Lady Mo sighed helplessly. The Zhao family had 2 sons and 1 daughter. The daughter, Zhao Jingrong, had been spoiled from a young age. Zhao Jingrong was 3 years younger than Mo Qishan, 24 this year. 24-year-old Zhao Jingrong had an excellent reputation in Beijing's circles of wealth. Not only was she beautiful, but she was also a talented student who studied abroad in France. If it wasn't for her engagement with Mo Qishan, her doorstep would probably have been worn out by suitors. Early in the morning, everyone in the Zhao family was gathered in the living room, the atmosphere a bit heavy. Zhao Baosheng looked up at his beloved daughter. Jingrong, I heard that the youngest Mo lad has returned. What's your opinion on this matter? Zhao Jingrong carelessly replied while blowing on her freshly painted nails. He's back. What does it have to do with me? Zhao Baosheng continued. Jingrong, Have you forgotten you are still engaged to him? Zhao Jingrong chuckled lightly. Engagement? Whoever agreed to this engagement can go ahead and marry. How dare that useless Qishan dream of marrying her, a swan, just because he's a toad? In his dreams, Zhao Baosheng was left speechless by his precious daughter. This engagement, after all, had been arranged by them, the parents. The Mrs. Zhao on the side leisurely interjected, "The engagement back then was just verbal. It doesn't really count for anything, right?" Chapter 104 Mr. Mog, His New Attracting Move? _3. Zhao Baosheng lamented, "But we have accepted the token from the Mo family." In the beginning, Mo Qishan was arguably and once a millennium genius. At the age of 3, Mo Qishan could recite all Tang and Song dynasty poetry. At 4, he could mentally calculate any addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division problem. At 5, he could discuss 5,000 years of Chinese history, even in more detail than historical records. At 6, he started first grade, and at 7, he skipped to third grade. The Zhao family would not have arranged a marriage with the Mo family so early on if it weren't for this. The Zhao family was certain that Mo Qishan's future was beyond measure. Who could have expected that they had overestimated him, making the wrong gamble? They all had high hopes for Mo Qishan, but to their surprise, Mo Qishan lost his genius, becoming gradually a mere ordinary person. He even became less than an ordinary person. At the very least, an ordinary person knows to work and earn a living to support the family, whereas Mo Qishan was capable of nothing but idleness. Madame Zhao was dismissive. "So what if we accepted a token? We could just return it. This isn't a big deal." Zhao Baosheng sighed, "But one should not be so fickle in life. Besides, we have decades of friendship with the Mo family. How can we maintain this relationship if we break off the engagement?" Madame Zhao cried out, "Not break off the engagement? So are you suggesting that our Jingrong be married to that good-for-nothing? Is friendship more important than our precious daughter?" "Mom is right. I'd be the first to object if we marry our sister to Mo Qishan." Zhao Zijuan, the oldest son of the Zhao family, clearly expressed his opinion. Zhao Zi, the second son, echoed, "I also object to marrying our sister to Mo Qishan. That good-for-nothing Mo Qishan is absolutely unworthy of their precious sister. Their sister deserved the world's best man." "Jingrong," Zhao Baosheng looked up at Zhao Jingrong, "what do you think?" "This decision ultimately depends on his precious daughter." Zhao Jingrong smiled and said, "Dad, you're really muddle-headed. With that incompetent Mo Qishan, how could he possibly deserve me? I, Zhao Jingrong, would rather never marry than marry someone like Mo Qishan. I would rather marry a man like Mr. Mog. Mr. Mog is a legendary figure in high society. Everything about him is a mystery, his age, identity, even nationality. Even Zhao Jingrong had only seen Mr. Mog's silhouette in the international news section. People in their circle could not help but feel admiration when they mentioned Mr. Mog." Zhao Baosheng continued, "But you've never even seen Mr. Mog's face. How do you know he's your type?" Zhao Jingrong answered with a light smile, "Dad, do you think I'm the type of person who is superficial enough to judge someone only by their appearance?" "Appearance? Could a good appearance bring you gold or silver?" Zhao Jingrong knew exactly what she wanted. She desired not just an exceptional lifestyle, but also ultimate glory. Could that incompetent Mo Qishan provide her with such glory? Madame Zhao nodded. "Jingrong, your mom supports you. You're so outstanding. You could not only win over one Mr. Mog, but even 10 of them." Jingrong's 2 brothers agreed, their confidence in their sister completely unwavering. Zhao Baosheng said, "What if Mr. Mog turns out to be a much older man? After all, the glory Mr. Mog had acquired was not something a young man could easily handle. This man might even be older than him." Zhao Jingrong gave a faint smile. "That would still be better than that good-for-nothing Mo Qishan." Zhao Baosheng sighed. "All right, Jingrong, Dad understands your point. I will find a time to discuss this matter with the Mo family." Zhao Jingrong gently put her nail polish on the coffee table. "Dad, you don't have to find a time. We should cut the knot quickly. Let's do it tomorrow. I will go with you. Also, Zhao Jingrong added, Dad, breaking off the engagement is not a matter of negotiation. It is a necessity. Zhao Jingrong felt disgustingly nauseous just thinking about still being engaged to that good-for-nothing Mo Qixin, her skin breaking out in goosebumps. Little sister, we will accompany you. Zhao Jingrong's two older brothers said. Madame Zhao added, they'll go with you too. Just in case the Mo family refuses to break off the engagement, we have strength in numbers. When the old lady from the Mo family found out that the Zhao family was coming the next day, she was so thrilled she could hardly close her mouth. She immediately ordered the servants to clean the entire house, inside and out, to show respect to the Zhao family. Chapter 105 Mr. Mog, his new attracting move? _4. Both sides' children had grown up now, and the Zhao family's visit at this time undoubtedly meant that they were prepared to discuss the wedding date of Mo Qixin and Zhao Jingrong. The thought of being able to hold her plump grandson in a not-so-distant future made the old Mrs. Mo sprightly, and she quickly went upstairs to share this good news with Mo Qixin. Upon hearing the news, Mo Qixin forced a smile. All right, Mom, I got it. Old Mrs. Mo continued. Old 6, remember to be on your best behavior in front of Jingrong tomorrow. Mo Qixin nodded. You can count on me, Mother. I won't let you down. Old Mrs. Mo added, and remember to tidy yourself up tomorrow. Don't be so frivolous. Mo Qixin nodded again, a trace of sarcasm hidden in the depths of his eyes. On Yurtist Road, around 11 in the morning, Yang had sold out her 600 servings of noodles and 500 cups of sour plum soup. She made a total of 220 yuan today, taking her a step closer to her goal of buying a shop. Yang smiled as she began packing up her stall. As she lowered her gaze to tidy up the bowls and utensils, a dark shadow suddenly loomed over her. At the same time, an oppressive aura filled the air around her, making it hard to breathe and creating a somewhat claustrophobic atmosphere. Yang instinctively looked up, her gaze meeting a pair of deep, icy black eyes. Their eyes locked, and the fluctuating emotions within his gaze were as deep and cold as an abyss, piercingly insightful, as if they were going to see right through her. It was him, Mo Baichuan, that narcissistic piece of trash. Yang had no good impression of such arrogant and conceited people. However, she had shoved him into a puddle of water the last time they met. He couldn't be seeking revenge this time, could he? At this thought, Yang's eyes darkened. Cook me a bowl of noodles. After a moment, Mo Baichuan spoke and then sat down on a stool. Yang shook off her surprise and replied softly, I'm sorry, sir. I've already packed up. Mo Baichuan had been struggling to control himself ever since he saw Yang preparing food for old Mrs. Mo at the Mo family residence. Why was he struggling to control himself? Because he was suddenly desperate to see beyond Yang's beautiful exterior. Yang had been doing so many things from the start until now, with the sole purpose of getting close to him, right? Fine then, he would give her an opportunity. He was curious to see what other schemes Yang had up her sleeve. Mo Baichuan squinted imperceptibly, seeing that he remained silent, and Yang spoke up again. Excuse me, sir. I've already packed up. If you want to eat noodles, you can come by tomorrow. I told you, my surname is Mo. Mo Baichuan suddenly looked at Yang. Mo, like in May, the right prevail. Oh, Yang's face didn't betray any emotions as she replied. Mr. Mo, I've packed up already. Please go back. Upon hearing this, Mo Baichuan frowned in displeasure. If he remembered correctly, this was the third time in just a few minutes that Yang had rejected him. Usually, he was the one avoiding women, yet to his surprise, he was being shunned by a woman today, always running hot and cold. Was this some kind of joke? I said, cook me a bowl of noodles. Mo Baichuan was determined. But I have packed up already. Yang repeated calmly, showing no fear whatsoever towards Mo Baichuan. Mo Baichuan raised his head to look at Yang, coldly saying, Yang, do you find this amusing? Hearing this, and Young suddenly remembered something. Did you lose a watch about a month ago? And Young wasn't the type of person to take advantage of others' misfortune. The unpleasantness of their previous encounters had made her forget about the watch. Upon hearing this, Mo Baichuan's eyes filled with contempt. Was Young trying to curry favor with him? Hadn't she just resolutely refused him? Couldn't she hide her true intentions for a tad longer? Moreover, hadn't she stolen his watch? And now she was saying that he had lost it? How shameless could she be? Mo Baichuan nodded slightly. Yes, I lost a watch. What brand was your watch? And Young asked. That watch was quite valuable, so it was necessary to confirm the details. Patek Philippe, Mo Baichuan calmly pronounced, not seeming at all perturbed about the valuable watch. And Young nodded slightly, then said, I don't have your watch on me today. Can you come back to pick it up tomorrow? I set up my stall here every day. Chapter 106 Mr. Mogg, his new attracting move? _5. Get it tomorrow? Is she creating an excuse for meeting again? Yes, it must be the case. So, this is all the cunning that Young has. Mo Baichuan thought to himself. Mo Baichuan continued. Why wait for another day? What can be done today? My watch, it's very valuable. Very valuable? As if suggesting that she has some kind of ulterior motive. And Young frowned slightly and lightly said, But I don't have it with me today. I'll definitely bring it tomorrow. You can come and get it tomorrow. She couldn't always carry such a valuable item with her. What if she loses it? Where did you put it? Mo Baichuan slowly lifted his gaze. It's at home, Young replied. Let's go. Mo Baichuan stood up from the bench. Go. Go where? And Young frowned. Where to? To your home. Mo Baichuan said with an indifferent tone, and then added 3 more words to get the watch. Go to her home? And Young frowned slightly. The social climate wasn't that open yet. What would it mean if she brought back a man to her house for no reason? Seeing her reaction, Mo Baichuan continued. You don't want to return it to me? Are you serious about going? And Young raised an eyebrow slightly. Mo Baichuan maintained a calm expression. Of course I am. Okay. And Young nodded. Since you insist on going, then wait for me. I need to clean up here before I can go home. Mo Baichuan nodded slightly, concise in words. With Mr. Mo Baichuan standing there, the air around him seemed inexplicably colder. Consequently, the number of passers-by turning their heads back increased. And Young distinctly remembered that the Missy in bell-bottoms and sunglasses had passed by here more than 5 times. After tidying up, Young began moving the tables and chairs into Li Dongliang's shop. The shop wasn't far from here. From Mo Baichuan's perspective, he could clearly see the young man in white standing at the door, laughing and talking with Young. It seemed like he even handed something to Young. Most importantly, Young actually accepted it. Seeing this, Mo Baichuan's face darkened involuntarily. A girl from a good family, chatting so happily with a man under the bright daylight. And wasn't Young playing hard to get with him just now? Why did she turn around and flirt with someone else so quickly? Seeing this, Mo Baichuan became even more restless and strode towards Young. Mo Baichuan had a tall and straight figure and came from a distinguished background, so he emanated an imposing aura that was hard to ignore. This strong aura quietened Li Wei, who was in the midst of a conversation. He instantly stopped talking, looked behind Young, and whispered, Who is he? Last time it was Song Beicheng, now it's Mo Baichuan. Li Wei felt the men appearing next to Young were not simple characters. Who? Young turned around with a curious look. As she turned around, she saw Mo Baichuan with an imposing look. A customer who came for noodles. Young turned her gaze slightly and said casually, A customer who came for noodles? Mo Baichuan's expression remained the same, but his dark eyes slightly lifted, deep and inscrutable. He disliked the term customer somewhat. He turned his eyes to Young and asked in a slightly cold tone, When should we go? We? Catching on to the word, Li Wei looked at Young with a scrutinizing gaze. It seemed that Young had a more than normal relationship with this man. If not, He wouldn't use the word we. For a moment, Li Wei felt a hint of unspoken bitterness in his heart. And Aiyang, with her head bowed, said, "Wait a little longer." However, and Aiyang didn't intend to bring Mo Baichuan back home. After packing up everything, she said, "Wait here. I will quickly return the wristwatch." Having said that, she hopped on her bicycle and quickly rode away. Mo Baichuan was left standing there, a little slow to react. Why did Aiyang just leave? Wasn't she supposed to use this chance to bring him to her home and get him acquainted? What was Aiyang trying to do? Was she trying to entice him with a new strategy? Mo Baichuan narrowed his eyes. A new strategy? He wouldn't let her succeed. And Aiyang had good physical stamina, so her bicycling speed was extremely fast. Less than an hour had passed when she returned. However, when she arrived, Mo Baichuan was nowhere to be found. "She is crazy," and Aiyang couldn't resist muttering under her breath. Even though they both were part of the Mo family, his actions were far from those of Mo Qixin, and Aiyang was so angry she felt like kicking Mo Baichuan to death. What a piece of junk! And Aiyang took a deep breath, trying hard to calm herself down, tucked the wristwatch back in her pocket, and headed for the nearest Xinhua bookstore to pick out some books. And Aiyang selected beginner-level books, annotated storybooks with pinyin, and a few books with models for calligraphy. These books would be of great help to Nai Suehua, who was just learning to read. The total cost of 5 books amounted to 6 yuan. Although quite expensive, Naiyang didn't regret it as knowledge is priceless. After Naiyang returned home, she gave these books to Nai Suehua. Nai Suehua said affectionately, "Yang, these must have cost a lot, right?" Knowing Nai Suehua would be worried about the money, Naiyang laughed and said, "It's not much, just a few cents." "Really?" Nai Suehua asked, suspicious. "Of course it's true." Naiyang nodded hurriedly. "You think about it. Our delicious noodles only cost 3 cents per bowl. How much can a few books be worth?" Hearing this, Nai Suehua was relieved. She was always afraid that Naiyang would waste money on her. After all, Naiyang's money was meant to be used to buy shops and make a big deal. "Sister Naiyang." At that moment, the voice of Yang Guobao rang out from outside the courtyard. "Guobao, come in," Naiyang called back. Yang Guobao walked in carefully with a basket in his hands. "Sister Naiyang, my grandma and mother asked me to give this to you." And Naiyang looked down and saw the basket was full of brown eggs. Each egg looked almost the same size. Piled together, they looked exceptionally pleasing. Because meat was expensive, eggs were considered quite valuable at this time, with each one costing 1 cent. And to have such a full basket of eggs probably took a long time to accumulate. And Naiyang said, "I can't accept this. You should take it back." "No," Yang Guobao replied. "My mom and grandma said you had to accept these eggs today, otherwise they wouldn't let me go home." And Naiyang gave a gentle pat on Yang Guobao's head. "Guobao, be obedient. I appreciate the intention, but I really can't accept this. Take it back. Anyway, I've already brought the eggs here. Sister, you have to take them." Having said that, Yang Guobao quickly ran away. And Nai Suehua smiled and said, "Guobao's behavior has been improving a lot lately. Yang, since this is a sincere offering from Meifeng and Aunt Wang, let's accept it. Didn't you bake some fruit and bread yesterday? When returning the basket later, bring some as a return gift." And Naiyang nodded. "All right, I'll go and empty the basket now." And Naiyang went inside, emptied the basket, lined it with a piece of paper, and placed in 4 pieces of bread, dried apples, and bananas. Remembering that Aunt Wang had 2 grandsons and a granddaughter, and Naiyang added a good handful of candies and finally covered the basket with a piece of cloth with blue floral patterns. People were coming and going in the village. It wouldn't be good to not give anything if they encountered an acquaintance. But if they gave something and there were many people, there might not be enough, which could offend someone. So just covering the stuff was the safest solution. Chapter 107 Termination of Engagement. When Naiyang arrived at Aunt Wang's house, Yang Guobao was playing in the mud by the door with his cousins, Wang Yuanji and Wang Xiaoqing. Aunt Wang was chatting with Wang Meifeng at the entrance. Seeing Naiyang coming, Wang Meifeng and Aunt Wang immediately greeted her with a smile. "Yang is here." "Auntie, Auntie Wong, I've come to return the basket. Aunt Wong smiled and said, just for returning a basket, you didn't have to bring it yourself. She then told Wong Meifeng, Meifeng, quickly make some tea for Yang Yang. Aunt Wong's family now treat Ni Yang as if she were an honored guest. Yang Guobao used to get sick several times a week before, but now, almost a month had gone by without incident. If he could keep up the medication for another month, Yang Guobao would be completely cured. All this was thanks to Ni Yang. Without her, Yang Guobao would not be the way he is now. Wang Meifeng had more than once expressed her gratitude for not giving in to pressure back then and not listening to the imperial doctor, Dr. Wang's words. If she had shown even a little hesitation then, she would have perfectly missed the chance of Yang Guobao's recovery. Luckily, Wang Meifeng turned and went inside to make tea for Ni Yang. Ni Yang smiled and said, Auntie Wong, you don't need to bother. I'm not thirsty. I just came to return a basket. It's okay if you're not thirsty. Let's go inside and chat. Aunt Wong led Ni Yang into the house. Ni Yang couldn't refuse Aunt Wong's kindness and had no choice but to carry the basket and go with her into the house. Yang, sit, it'll get you something good. Aunt Wong pressed Ni Yang down into a chair and then went into the inner room. At this point, Wang Meifeng also finished brewing the tea. Yang, have some tea. Ni Yang stood up immediately and accepted the teacup with both hands. Thank you, Auntie Wong. Wang Meifeng giggled. Why are you being so formal? Sit down, sit down. After a while, Aunt Wong came out of the room with 3 honey tangerines and stuffed them into Ni Yang's hands. Yang, these are honey tangerines your uncle brought back from the city a few days ago. Try them and see if they're sweet. The season for honey tangerines was not yet here. Off-season fruits were particularly expensive. Ni Yang had asked specifically when she was buying fruits before, and even a small honey tangerine sold for 50 cents apiece. 3 honey tangerines can be traded for almost half a kilo of pork. If it was anyone else, Aunt Wong would not have been able to bring out 3 at once. After all, when her own grandchildren ate them, they divided them up one segment at a time. But this was Ni Yang. As long as Ni Yang liked it, Aunt Wong would not be stingy, not even for 10. Seeing Aunt Wong's hopeful look, Ni Yang peeled a tangerine and sampled a segment. It's very sweet. Thank you, Auntie. Hearing this, Aunt Wong broke into a happy smile. Stop being so formal with me. If you like them, I can get you more. Ni Yang immediately stopped Aunt Wong's hand. Auntie, no need to. I just wanted to try one. If you carry on like this, I won't dare to visit next time. Only then did Aunt Wong stop. After some casual chatting for a while, Ni Yang began to say goodbye. Aunt Wong and Wang Meifeng walked Ni Yang to the door. Ni Yang smiled and said, Auntie Wong, no need to see me out. You should go back inside. Sister Ni Yang, it'll walk you home. Yang Guobao hopped to Ni Yang's side. Sister Ni Yang, I'm your flower guardian. Ni Yang patted Yang Guobao's little head. Thank you then, little envoy Guobao. Yang Guobao bashfully ran ahead. Sister Ni Yang, it'll lead the way. Aunt Wong and Wang Meifeng didn't go back until Ni Yang and Yang Guobao disappeared in front of the bamboo forest. Just then, the excited voices of Wang Yuanji and Wang Xiaoqin could be heard from inside the house. Grandma, Auntie, are these the delicious treats that Sister Ni Yang just brought? The mother and daughter only found out when they went inside that the basket Ni Yang had just brought wasn't empty. It was filled to the brim with delicious treats. Seeing all the good food, the 2 children jumped for joy. Aunt Wong picked up a piece of dried fruit, curiously asking, What's this? Wang Meifeng shook her head. Wang Xiaoqin said, It's dried fruit, baked by Sister Ni Yang in the bread oven. Grandma, you have to taste it. It's really good. Wang Yunji added, Yes, it's dried fruit. Aunt Wong asked out of curiosity, Yuanji, Xiaoqin, how do you know this is dried fruit? Chapter 108 Termination of Engagement. Wang Yuanji said, Because we have eaten at Sister Ni Yang's house plenty of times. Last time, Sister Ni Yang even hosted a party for us. Ni Yang was not only beautiful, but also friendly. After hosting the last party, she held several more at her home. As a result, All the children in the village loved her. Old Lady Wang tasted the dried fruit. They were crispy, and not only did they have the sweetness of fruit, but also the texture of a dessert. The taste was incredible. Old Lady Wang exclaimed. Yang Yang is such a sensible little girl. Mei Feng, after Guobao is fully recovered, you must bring your mother-in-law, as well as Changzheng, to come and properly thank Yang Yang. Compared to other girls in Yang's age who knew little about the world, like Wang Xiuhong who relied on her beauty to the point of arrogance, and Yang not only understood worldly wisdom and knew how to do business, but also had excellent medical skills. Most importantly, she didn't let it get to her head. She remained grounded, humble, and polite, without any hint that she thought herself better than others. Wang Meifeng nodded. Mom, rest assured, won't understand. Old Lady Wang smiled and said, as long as you understand, that's good. I family. I Tsuehua was busy in the kitchen slicing fish and stewing fishbone soup. She was efficient and quickly finished all her tasks. Afterwards, she moved a small stool next to Ni Yun's cradle, watching the child while reading. Ni Tsuehua was a smart woman who had learned to read from phonetics. The feeling of being able to recognize words was something she had never experienced before. Ni Yang, on the other hand, was watering the vegetables in the garden. 2 months had passed, and under Ni Kuihua's diligent efforts, the once barren vegetable garden had turned lush green. It was now growing bok choy, long beans, loofah, soybeans, potatoes, cilantro, scallions, etc., and they were growing very well. The herbs and aloe vera Ni Yang had brought back from the mountain had grown particularly well, especially the aloe vera that had started to branch out. Those fat and large leaves made Ni Yang want to chew on them right on the spot. After watering, Yang Yang picked a handful of baby greens to feed the rabbits. Because these little rabbits were too mischievous, I built a fence to keep them contained, preventing them from running around and scattering droppings everywhere. Ni Yang tossed the baby greens into the fence, and the little rabbits immediately started crunching on them. After finishing up at home, Yang Yang took a bucket to the river to check the traps. As soon as she arrived at the river, she met a tall, slender figure with handsome features hidden in the light. Yang Yang. Seeing who it was, Ni Yang was momentarily stunned, then said, Big brother Mo. Yang Yang, you've come to check the traps again today? Mo Chishan naturally took the bucket from Ni Yang's hands, then continued. It rained last night, and the river has risen. It's not suitable for you to go down, let me do it. Yang Yang turned to look at the river. Indeed, the river had significantly risen, at least 50 to 60 centimeters above where she normally placed her traps. As it was summer and Ni Yang was a girl, getting her top what would not only look improper, but could also cause a stir in the village. It must be said that Mo Kishin's arrival was indeed very timely, and his considerations were very thoughtful. Ni Yang looked up at Mo Chishin. Then I'll have to trouble you. Big brother Mo? Mo Chishin smiled and said, There's no trouble at all. Helping others is a virtue. Then be careful, Big brother Mo. Ni Yang shouted. Hearing her call him Big brother Mo was sweeter to Mo Chishin than any honey. How could a little girl's words be so pleasant to hear? He was truly lucky to have met such a treasure of a girl. Don't worry. Mo Chishin patted his chest. Your big brother Mo is a good swimmer. Having said that, Mo Chishin walked toward the river with the bucket. Because he had helped Ni Yang retrieve her traps once before, Mo Chishin was able to find the exact location accurately today. Mo Chishin was tall and had long legs, so the water only reached a bit above his waist, but for Ni Yang, it would probably reach her chest. Soon, Mo Chishin retrieved the traps and walked back with a bucket full of fish. Today's haul was pretty good. Not only were there crucian carp, but also 3 big grass carps. Chapter 109 Termination of Engagement. Ni Yang reached out for the bucket. Thanks, brother Mo. No need for formalities. Mo Chishin didn't hand the bucket directly to Ni Yang, but said, This bucket of fish is quite heavy. Let me take it home for you. The fragmented remains of fish, along with shells and other things, weighed at least 15 to 20 kilograms. With him around, how could she, a young girl, be asked to do such heavy labor? And Yang smiled and said, "No need, I can handle it. It's all right." Immerse stepped ahead, saying, "I consider it physical exercise." Immerse, tall and striding, soon left Yang behind. Having no choice, Yang quickened her pace to catch up. As she walked with Immerse, they chatted idly. "Brother Imo, is your injury healing?" She was most likely referring to the bite mark she had left on his collarbone last time. Immerse's face inexplicably turned red. "It's fine now. Have you been to hospital?" Yang asked further. Immerse replied, "Yes, I have. The doctor said it's nothing serious." Upon hearing this, Yang was relieved. "That's good." Yang initially thought Immerse would accompany her all the way home. Unexpectedly, just before they turned the corner to her house, Immerse stopped, placed the bucket on the ground, and said, Yang, I want go inside. I'm heading off first." After all, during this time, social conduct between men and women was strictly monitored. He and Yang were not real cousins, and he did not want to cause unnecessary trouble for her. Now, it was daytime, unlike during that past night, and Yang was surprised at his sensitivity, smiling, "Wait for me here for a moment." Not only was Yang pretty, but her teeth were also especially white when she smiled. Like rows of neatly arranged tiny pearls, they were brilliant and eye-catching. Immerse was mesmerized looking at her. In a short while, Yang returned with a run. But this time, Yang held a bag made of oily paper. She stuffed the oily paper bag into Immerse's hands. "This has some dried fruit that I made. You could try them, Brother Imo." Last time it was bread. Now it was dried fruit. Was this young girl subconsciously considering him as a servant to serve him snacks? "Thank you." Immerse continued. "You should go home, Yang. You don't want anyone to see us and get the wrong idea." Yang nodded and turned toward her home. Immerse also started walking toward the river, whistling along the way. Upon returning home, Yang began preparations for dinner. What to cook for tonight's meal? Yang pondered, chin in hand, and her eyes landed on the 2 cucumbers and a bunch of cilantro in her basket. Suddenly, she had an idea. She could make cold skin noodles for dinner. Not wasting any time, Yang began kneading and washing the flour. Making cold skin noodles was neither too simple nor too complex. The main difficulty lay in washing the flour, where she had to wash a whole dough ball in water until it turned into a small ball of gluten. The washed dough water, after settling, could be used for steaming. Cold skin noodles originated from the Northwest and were quite rare in Beijing at that time. Seeing Yang washing dough, Tsuehua curiously asked, Yang, what are you making?" Yang explained, "I'm washing dough to make cold skin noodles." "Cold skin noodles?" Tsuehua continued, "Can we eat them?" "Yes." Yang nodded. Tsuehua then asked, Yang, can one help with something?" Yang replied, "How about you slice the cucumbers and cut the cilantro and spring onions into segments, then crush some garlic." "All right." Tsuehua straightaway started washing the vegetables efficiently. The mother-daughter duo cooperated superbly, and as soon as Yang finished washing the dough, Tsuehua had already chopped all the ingredients. So, Tsuehua started the fire under the stove, while Yang took her place by the pot to steam the noodles. Cold skin noodles were very filling and were great for the spleen and appetite when eaten in the summer. So Yang prepared a few extra plates for Granny Mo's breakfast the next day. Before long, the cold skin noodles were ready. Yang sliced the cold skin noodles and put them in a large bowl, added spring onions, cilantro, minced garlic, cucumber strips, and finally poured sesame oil, vinegar, and chili on top. The enticing aroma wafted even before she started mixing everything. Worried that the cold skin noodles alone wouldn't fill their stomachs, Yang also boiled 6 tea eggs with the eggs Yang Guobao had brought. Except for the tea leaves, Yang mixed all the marinades herself. In no time, the delicious aroma filled the entire courtyard. Chapter 1: Termination of Engagement Carrot. After boiling the tea eggs, Yang have them and arranged them on a porcelain white plate. They were garnished with a few slices of tomatoes, providing a pleasing feast for the eyes, which was delightfully ceremonial. Additionally, Yang stir-fried 2 small dishes beneficial for beauty and nourishment. Tsohua served all the dishes onto the table, waiting for Chenge to return and start the meal. The cold noodles were pleasant with a sour taste and a smooth texture. Their appealing flavor lingered in their mouths, leaving Chenge and Suehua full of praise. The 3 of them cleaned out all the dishes, leaving only 2 eggs behind. Seeing the popularity of her cold noodles, Yang had a new idea in mind. However, this idea could only be implemented after buying a shop. After finishing the meal, Yang went into the kitchen to make sour plum soup. As the weather was hot, this soup was extremely popular. It often sold out before the pickled vegetable noodles each morning. Hence, Yang decided to brew more sour plum soup to take along. She prepared 500 servings yesterday, so she planned to prepare 1,000 servings today. With a price of 1 cent per cup, 1,000 cups of sour plum soup would total 2 yuan. In this way, she would be another step closer to her plan of buying a shop. With this in mind, Yang was filled with a renewed vigor. She reckoned she could endure being a bit tired, as good days are always made out of tough ones. The next day, Mo family's house. Because the Zhao family had promised a visit today, old lady Mo woke up early. However, instead of the Zhao family, she was first greeted by Li Gongcheng. Li Gongcheng had come to bring her breakfast. Old lady Mo eagerly opened the thermos, and sure enough, Yang's breakfast meal did not disappoint her. Sour and appetizing cold noodles, rich and fragrant stir-fried shrimp with leeks, cool and refreshing soup of loofah and lotus seeds. The food delighted old lady Mo's palate, but what she did not know was that all these dishes that Yang prepared were health-promoting. For instance, stir-fried shrimp with leeks helps to expel cold and is particularly good for the elderly, while a soup of loofah and lotus seeds has the effect of resisting osteoporosis. Are there any elderly people who do not have osteoporosis? While she was unaware of these health benefits, old lady Mo could clearly feel that ever since she started eating the meals prepared by Yang, her health improved day by day. It needs to be noted that she was in a condition where she would pant after taking 2 steps. There is no need to guess, this was definitely because the dishes by Boss Xiaoni tasted good. So, at present, old lady Mo is completely satisfied with Boss Xiaoni. Xiaoli, wait a moment. Old lady Mo called out to Li Gongcheng, who was about to leave. Old lady, do you have any other instructions? Li Gongcheng turned his head towards her. Old lady Mo then asked, Xiaoli, how old is Boss Xiaoni this year? Are they a boy or girl? Are they married? Boss Xiaoni saved her life once, so she wanted to prepare a gift to thank Boss Xiaoni. Li Gongcheng replied, Boss Xiaoni is a 17-year-old girl, and she's not married yet. 17 years old? Is she still a young girl? Old lady Mo was extremely astonished. It never occurred to her that such delicious food came from a 17-year-old girl. She originally thought that even if Boss Xiaoni was young, she must be at least in her 30s. This was truly unexpected. Xiaoli, you aren't playing tricks on me, are you? Li Gongcheng laughed and said, Why would I trick you? Boss Xiaoni is indeed so young. Actually, my initial reaction was the same as yours. Who would believe that a 17-year-old girl could be so skilled in cooking unless they witnessed it themselves? Old lady Mo suppressed her amazement, nodded her head, and made up her mind. Okay, I've got it. You may return to your work. All right, old lady. Li Gongcheng bent his waist slightly and turned to leave. As old lady Mo was getting ready to eat, Mo Fuhai, dressed smartly, came down from upstairs. Old man, come here. Old lady Mo waved her hand at him. What's up? You seem secretive. Mo Fuhai walked over. Old lady Mo laughed. It's rare that you're up early. Come, let's have breakfast together. Xiaoli just brought it over. It's still warm. Although Mo Fuhai initially had little appetite, after seeing the appealing appearance of the food and its mouth-watering aroma, he quietly withdrew his impending refusal. He picked up his bowl and chopsticks and joined old Lady Mo in a hearty meal. As expected, the taste didn't disappoint him. Chapter 1, 11 Termination of Engagement. Even Mo Fuhai, who had tasted countless delicacies, was deeply impressed. "It's delicious." Mo Fuhai wiped his mouth, looking at the empty thermos box, and said a little bit adoringly, "This was made by Boss Xiaoni?" Mrs. Mo nodded. "Indeed, they say Boss Xiaoni is only a 17-year-old girl. It's incredible." "Only 17 years old?" Mo Fuhai exclaimed. "That's truly impressive." It wasn't until 10 o'clock in the morning, nearly 11, that the Zhao family finally arrived late. "Little Six, quickly make some tea for your uncle and aunt." Mo Fuhai hinted at Mo Qishan with his eyes. Mo Qishan nodded. "Okay." Zhao Jingrong may have an engagement with Mo Qishan, but because one was studying abroad and the other was loafing around, the two hadn't seen each other for over a decade. She never expected that such a loser could turn out to be so good-looking. From every angle, there was not a single unfavorable feature on Mo Qishan's face. He was way more handsome than any pretty boy on TV. He's quite handsome indeed, but it's a pity. Physical appearance was the most useless thing in the world. If a woman was beautiful, she might have an opportunity to climb to higher social status. But as for men, being handsome only makes one a pretty boy. At this moment, Mo Qishan handed the steeped tea to Zhao Jingrong. "Be careful, it's hot." "Be careful, it's hot?" Was Mo Qishan trying to please her? Well, she was beautiful and outstanding. It was impossible that any man wouldn't be charmed by her. "You don't have to flatter me." Zhao Jingrong snorted coldly. "Because I'm here to dissolve the engagement." At her words, the lively living room immediately fell silent. Zhao Baosheng, who was at the top of the family hierarchy, chuckled nervously. "Jingrong, what kind of joke are you making?" Mo Fuhai and Mrs. Mo quickly tried to smooth things over. It's okay. Young people like to joke." "I'm not joking, Uncle Mo, Auntie Mo. You should be very clear about my conditions." Zhao Jingrong stood up directly from the sofa and pointed at Mo Qishan and asked, "What makes you think that this man is worthy of me?" Since she had decided to dissolve the engagement, Zhao Jingrong wasn't planning to maintain relations with the Mo family in the future. Since the truth was eventually going to be revealed, there was no sense in beating around the bush. Once she married Mr. Mog, all of Beijing would have to give her due respect. What did the Mo family count for? As soon as her words were spoken, the faces of Mo Fuhai and Mrs. Mo turned extremely awful. Even if Mo Qishan was not competent, he was still their precious son. How could they tolerate someone insulting him like this? Moreover, the person doing this was the girl they had always liked for their daughter-in-law. They had never dreamed that the smart and cute little girl from those days would become what she was today. Mo Qishan smiled and said, "Miss Zhao is right. I, Mo Qishan, am idle and incompetent. I am indeed not worthy of the talented and beautiful Miss Zhao." Zhao Jingrong narrowed her eyes. What was up with this good-for-nothing Mo Qishan? How could he still manage to smile? Shouldn't he be sobbing and begging her not to break off the engagement at this moment? Was he too shocked? So, Mo Qishan continued, "It's not that Miss Zhao wants to dissolve the engagement with me, but I want to dissolve the engagement with Miss Zhao." Breaking an engagement and having an engagement broken off were two completely different things. Just like calling off a wedding differs from being dumped. If it were spread around that she was dumped by a loser, she wouldn't be able to save face. Hearing his words, Zhao Jingrong exploded. "You want to break off our engagement? On what grounds can you break off our engagement? Where did a loser have to speak to her like that?" Mo Qishan gave a faint smile. "Are you saying that, Miss Zhao, you don't want to dissolve the engagement? It's not too late for you to change your mind. At least this loser had some brains." Zhao Jingrong finally understood that this loser was trying to goad her, with the aim of preserving the engagement. She knew this loser wouldn't renounce the engagement easily. "Of course not," Zhao Jingrong retorted. "If that's the case, this is the dissolution agreement. Please keep it, Miss Zhao." Mo Qishan handed Zhao Jingrong an envelope. "If I remember correctly, When our two families set this engagement, we also exchange tokens. The thing from your house is in the envelope. Chapter 1, 12 Termination of Engagement _6. A divorce letter. This good-for-nothing actually wrote a divorce letter. To Zhao Jingrong, this is an absolute humiliation. But on second thought, what if this is a strategy from the loser, feigning weakness to bait the enemy? I can't fall for his trick. Ending the engagement is the only way forward. With no other option, Zhao Jingrong had no choice but to accept the divorce letter and swallow this humiliation. Dad, give the jade pendant back to them. Let's go. Zhao Baoxing never expected things would turn out this way. This is far from how they imagined the divorce would turn out. They thought the Mo family would try to salvage the situation. However, not only did they not say a word of regret, but Mo Qixin also threw out the divorce letter. Just like the descendants of a military family, showing their impressive integrity. Zhao Baoxing placed the jade pendant on the table. Facing his old friend of many years, he expressed his regret. I'm so sorry, Fu Hai. After all, when the Zhao family fell on hard times, the Mo family helped them. Their actions today were completely ungrateful. Sigh. After thinking, Zhao Baoxing continued. Fu Hai, my old friend, one can't interfere with the children's matters. One hope you understand. Get out. Mo Fu Hai's face turned livid with rage. Just a while ago, he was saying the Zhao family would never break their promise. But before he could turn around, reality has slapped him in the face. He had misread the Zhao family. Dad, Zhao Jingrong shouted. Why are you wasting words with them? Let's go. Mrs. Zhao swiftly pulled Zhao Baoxing away. Watching the departing Zhao family, Mo Qixin shouted, May Ms. Zhao find a suitable husband soon. Safe journeys. The two Zhao brothers turn around. Rest assured, our little sister will surely marry the best man this world has to offer. She will never stoop to someone like you. Mo Qixin was not angered, but instead replied with a faint smile, I'm looking forward to seeing it. After the Zhao family left, the Mo family matriarch came to Mo Qixin's side with a heartbroken expression. My dear sixth child, you've suffered today. One ever thought the Zhao family could be so horrible? Mo Qixin laughed and said, Mom, I'm not upset. It's a good thing to see their true faces early. Oh, my dear sixth child, a man can easily find a good wife. Don't be too upset. Mo Fu Hai came over and patted Mo Qixin on the shoulder. I'm not upset. Mo Fu Hai took several bank cards out of his pocket. Dear sixth, don't force yourself too much. If you want to cry, just cry. Even without a wife, you still have money. As long as you have money, what kind of woman cannot be found? Mo Qixin helplessly said, Mom and Dad, I'm really not upset, and one don't want to cry. One also don't need these cards. I have money now, so you don't have to worry about me. He was really not upset, and he truly had money. Why wouldn't his parents believe him? Just keep it. Mo Fu Hai patted Mo Qixin's shoulder. We are both men, I understand you. Mo Qixin thought to himself, No, you don't understand. Mo Fu Hai continued, You're always saying that you have money. If I may ask, where does your money come from? I earned it, Mo Qixin replied. Mo Fu Hai persisted. How did you earn it? Mo Qixin hesitated slightly. This is classified information. I can't tell you for now. Just know that your son is not lacking money now. Classified information? No lack of money? What big secret can a person who didn't even graduate from high school involve himself in? Looking at it this way, it seems this incident has really hit the kid hard, and now he's talking nonsense. Thinking of this, Mo Fu Hai's eyes filled with worry again. Sixth, you can go wherever you want to go during this period. Don't worry, your mom and I won't push you, nor blame you. But remember my words, never ever consider any drastic actions. Mo Qixin was almost amused by what Mo Fu Hai said. Dad, where are your thoughts going? I truly am not the least bit heartbroken. Mo Fu Hai thought to himself not to upset his son any further, so he nodded in agreement. All right. One believe you. You're not heartbroken or sad at all, but you have to accept this money. Otherwise, I won't be at ease. Faced with no other choice, Mo Chishan could only nod in acceptance. Only then did Mo Fuhai breathe a sigh of relief. The next day, news of Mo Kishan's divorce with Zhao Jingrong spread across the entire upper-class society in Beijing. Zheng family. Upon hearing this news, Zheng Xianjing was so excited that she didn't know what to do. Excellent. Mo Chishan finally severed the marital tie with Zhao Jingrong. That Zhao Jingrong really knows nothing about gems. Now, that Mo Chishan has just ended his engagement with Zhao Jingrong. Perhaps he's heartbroken. If she goes to comfort him now, perhaps she could take advantage of his vulnerability. With that thought, Zheng Xianjing immediately put on some beautiful makeup, put on a nice dress, and hurried towards the door. As soon as she ran into the living room, she bumped into Zheng Lingling, who was coming out of the kitchen. Zheng Lingling let out a scream. "What's the rush? You spilt the chicken soup that I made for your grandma." Zheng Xianjing was startled. In her memory, Zheng Lingling had never lost her temper with her this much. "Mom, what are you doing? You scared me. Isn't it just a bowl of chicken soup? If it's spilt, can't you just make another one?" An unnatural look flashed across Zheng Lingling's eyes. "Make another bowl? You make it sound so easy. Do you know how much effort it takes to cook a bowl of chicken soup?" Zheng Xianjing dismissed it. "It's just a bowl of chicken soup. How hard can it be? Besides, don't we have maids?" Lingling looked at the soup in shattered pieces on the floor, her eyes full of heartache. "Your grandma hasn't been feeling well lately. Do you know how much tonic I put in this chicken soup? And you just wasted it all." Zheng Xianjing dismissed it. "Mom, when did you become so thrifty? It's just some tonic and a bowl of chicken soup. Is it really worth it?" Zheng Lingling subtly changed the topic. "Xianjing, where are you rushing off to?" Zheng Xianjing remembered her mission, turning to run out of the door. "Mom, I can't talk now, one have to go." At this moment, a maid came with a broom to clean up the chicken soup and broken pieces on the floor. Zheng Lingling said, "Mrs. Wu, leave this to me. You go do your other tasks." Zheng Lingling always treated the maids kindly, so Mrs. Wu didn't think much of it and handed the broom to her. Once she turned around, Mrs. Wu began commending Zheng Lingling to the other maids. Though the madam isn't the madam's biological daughter, she is genuinely filial to her, not only personally making chicken soup for her, but also reprimanding the miss when she accidentally spilt the soup. Would she ever rebuke the miss under normal circumstances? Upon hearing this, the other maids all nodded in agreement. Zheng Lingling stood outside, listening, a venomous smile lurking at the corner of her mouth. The old hag am so good to her, yet all she knows is to stare blankly at that photo all day. If that's the case, you can't blame me. Chapter 113, Thrash Scum. Eat Hot Pot. When Zheng Xianjing arrived at the Mo family's house, the elderly couple was sitting in the living room, sighing and looking downcast. "Grandpa Mo, Grandma Mo, Xianjing is here." Seeing Zheng Xianjing, Mrs. Mo managed to squeeze a faint smile from the corner of her mouth. "Grandma Mo, this is the chicken soup my mother asked me to bring to you. Please drink it while it's hot." Zheng Xianjing handed the thermal box in her hands to Mrs. Mo, thinking it would be improper to visit the Mo family empty-handed. Zheng Xianjing had packed a portion from the shop. Mrs. Mo exclaimed in surprise. "Chicken soup? Did your mom make it herself?" "Yes." Zheng Xianjing nodded, her face not turning red and her heart not skipping a beat. "My mom knew that you and Grandpa Mo must be feeling down, so she sent me to check on you." Mrs. Mo patted Zheng Xianjing's hand gratefully, sighing, "Your mom is really thoughtful." Zheng Xianjing lifted the lid of the thermal box and scooped out 2 bowls of chicken soup. "Grandpa Mo, Grandma Mo, please try my mother's cooking." "Good, good." Mr. Mo Fuhai and Mrs. Mo received the chicken soup, praising Zheng Xianjing for her filial piety. Then Zheng Xianjing comforted them. "Grandpa Mo, Grandma Mo, don't feel sad or upset. Zhao Jingrong's calling off the marriage with Uncle Mo is her loss. I believe Uncle Mo will surely find a better girl, 1,000, even 1,000,000 times better than her. I believe one day, Zhao Jingrong will regret her actions from yesterday." Speaking these words, Zhang Xianjing's eyes filled with determination. It was obvious that Zhao Jingrong would regret her actions. However, there was no pill for regret in this world for her to take. Only Zhang Xianjing knew a secret that others didn't, so she was determined to hold on to Mo Qixin. The more Zhao Jingrong looked down on Mo Qixin, the more it highlighted her. Mrs. Mo looked at Zhang Xianjing in surprise. Xianjing, do you truly think so? She did not expect Zhang Xianjing, who was quite young, to be so sensible. While others looked down on Mo Qixin, Zhang Xianjing had such faith in him. Zhang Xianjing nodded, her eyes flickering upstairs, and answered solemnly, "Of course, Grandma Mo, some people have deep potential that just hasn't been tapped yet. One believed that Uncle Mo's future will definitely be limitless. Let Zhao Jingrong regret her decisions in the future." Mrs. Mo was so touched she was almost brought to tears. Mr. Mo Fuhai was also successfully comforted by Zhang Xianjing. As Zhang Xianjing held Mrs. Mo's hand, she cooed, "Grandma Mo, if that Zhao Jingrong regrets it and comes crying and begging to you, you and Grandpa Mo must not pay her any attention." Mrs. Mo was tickled by Zhang Xianjing and began laughing. Her previous depressive mood instantly lifted. "Good, good. We'll ignore her. We'll make her regret it till the end of time." "Yes." Zhang Xianjing nodded. Just then, there were footsteps on the spiral staircase. Zhang Xianjing looked up to see a tall figure descending from upstairs. Fine brows, slightly upturned phoenix eyes, high-nosed bridge, thin lips. Every feature was just the way Zhang Xianjing liked. Although the men of the Mo family were all handsome and had a pair of standard phoenix eyes, Mo Qixin was undoubtedly the most outstanding among them. He must have heard what she just said, hadn't he? Yes, he must have heard it. Perhaps Mo Qixin had started to see her in a new light. Zhang Xianjing suppressed the excitement in her heart, stood up politely and greeted, "Uncle Mo." Mo Qixin gave a light nod and casually put on his suit jacket. "Mom, Dad, I have a bit of an urgent matter to attend to and may not be able to come back home for a while." "Alt, leaving again?" Mrs. Mo stood up reluctantly. Mr. Mo Fuhai also stood up immediately. Mo Qixin nodded. Mrs. Mo continued, "When will you be back this time?" Mo Qixin checked his watch. "I'm not sure about the exact time, but don't worry, he'll definitely be back before the end of the year." It was clear their son just had his marriage engagement broken, and now he was leaving again. Anyone could see what was happening, and the more Mrs. Mo thought about it, the more she felt sorry for him, tears trickling from her eyes. "Mom, why are you crying?" Mo Qixin comforted her by patting her back. "It's just a short trip for me. Not that I'm not coming back." Mr. Mo Fuhai tightened his face. "All right, stop crying. It isn't a good look." Zhang Xianjing softly comforted. "Grandma Mo, Uncle Mo is going to do something important. You don't need to worry." Chapter 114, Bullying Trash, Eating Hot Pot _2. Zhang Xianjing's words were clearly ingratiating. Mo Qixin glanced up at her. Catching Mo Qixin's gaze, Zhang Xianjing immediately lowered her head shyly. He noticed her. Mo Qixin finally noticed her. Zhang Xianjing's heart pounded like it had been bumped by a little deer. Do something big? What big thing could Mo Qixin do? Although she knew her son couldn't do anything significant, old Lady Mo felt somewhat comforted. Holding Mo Qixin's hand, she said, "My sixth son, promise your mother not to do anything foolish. Be good, understand?" Mo Qixin nodded and wiped away his mother's tears. He smiled and said, "I know, Mom. Don't worry, one will definitely take good care of myself." For some reason, the more old Lady Mo saw Mo Qixin smiling, the more her heart ached. This child was too pitiful. He was still smiling when things were so dire. "Go, don't worry about your mother. I will take care of the house." Mo Fuhai patted Mo Qixin's shoulder. "Dad, 1 a.m. leaving then." Mo Qixin leaned over to hug Mo Fuhai, then turned to leave. Being hugged by his son, Mo Fuhai chuckled and scolded, "This rascal." Zhang Xianjing, watching Mo Qixin's retreating figure, shouted, Safe travels, Uncle Mo. Mo Kishin's retreating figure was all that responded to Zheng Xianjing's words. But Zheng Xianjing didn't mind. As long as Mo Kishin noticed her, everything else would come slowly. A calculating smile curled at the corners of Zheng Xianjing's mouth. And Yin had been doing great business lately. Every day, the noodles and sour plum soup she prepared sold out before 11 a.m. In just 1 week, she had already cleared a profit of 1,900 yuan. When she looked at Sun Chuanxiang, not only did she make no profit, but she even lost the capital. Exactly because of Sun Chengxiang's example. Many people who wanted to imitate Yin were hesitant to act. Although selling other stuff might not bring them as much business as Yin, at least they could make some profit, which was better than losing money. Sun Chuanxiang was worrying earnestly. She had originally thought she could easily find the pickled vegetables Yin used, but after combing through all the agricultural markets in Beijing, she couldn't find anything similar. This couldn't go on. His son was waiting for her to pay the school fees. Although Zhu Yonghong's incident had affected her son, the school had said that as long as she paid a penalty of 1,000 yuan and wrote a self-criticism letter, he could return to school. At a time like this, she mustn't hinder her son. The reason Yin could make such delicious sour fish must be because she had some secret recipe. As long as she managed to get the secret recipe, she wouldn't have to worry about business. Thinking of this, Sun Chuanxiang formed a plan in her mind. That day, after Yin sold all the noodles, she was preparing to pack up, but then saw Sun Chuanxiang walking over carrying a basket of apples. "Xiaoni, your business has been good these days, hasn't it?" "Yes, it has been good." Yin looked up at her. "What do you need?" Treating every Tom, Dick, and Harry with a smile depends on who's standing in front of you. For someone like Sun Chuanxiang, Yin couldn't even bother to deal with her, let alone smile. Little jerk. Feeling proud, right? Seeing the 2 large empty buckets, Sun Chuanxiang felt bitter in her heart. But remembering the purpose of her visit, she smiled and said, "Xiaoni, there was a misunderstanding between your nephew Hong Hong and you recently. So, one have come especially to apologize to you. One failed to teach my daughter well. One am sorry, Xiaoni. One hope you won't hold it against me. After all, we all do business on the same street. It isn't good if we clam up, is it?" Yin kept silent and continued to pack up. Seeing her not responding, Sun Chuanxiang continued, "Xiaoni, you will laugh if I tell you this, but actually my family is really tough. After Hong Hong went inside jail, one have to take care of everything alone without any help. Now Hong Hong's brother is about to start school, and I can't even pull together the tuition." Halfway through her speech, Sun Chuanxiang started wiping her tears, looking pitiful. "If I weren't really desperate, I wouldn't follow you and learn to make pickled vegetable noodles. One really had no choice. Unfortunately, 1 am not skilled. The pickled vegetable noodles I make are not as tasty as yours." Chapter 115, Thrash Scum, Eat Hot Potter Score 3. Sun Chuanxiang helped Yang to put the small stool on the table, and then said, "Xiaoni, now the only person who can help Annie is you. Annie knows that you have a kind heart. You wouldn't let her suffer, right?" Yang smiled lightly. "I'm incapable of helping you out. Please leave." "No, you can help me," Sun Chuanxiang said confidently. "You definitely can. What do you need help with?" Yang raised an eyebrow. She was curious to see how shameless a person could be. Sun Chuanxiang continued, "Xiaoni, do you think you could lend Annie 3,000 yuan?" No matter how clever Yang was, she was still just a teenage girl. After all, old foxes are always cunning. A basket of apples for 3,000 yuan? Not a bad deal. 3,000 yuan. Only Sun Chuanxiang could have the audacity to ask. Yang replied indifferently, "I don't have money. You got the wrong person." "No money." Sun Chuanxiang got furious. "How could you possibly be broke?" Yang sells at least 700 noodles every day at 3 cents each, amounting to 210 yuan. Adding the profit from the sour plum soup, she makes over 300 yuan a day. 3,000 yuan. She could earn it back in less than 10 days. Yet now she claims to be without money. Doesn't Yang think she's a fool and Easy to cheat? And I Yang chuckled. To be honest, even if I did have the money, why would I lend it to you? Sun Chuanxiang was taken aback and then said, Xiaoni, please help Annie out. We all fall on hard times, don't we? You have so much money. A small loan wouldn't affect you. Besides, you're a girl. You'll get married someday. What do you need all this money for? Besides, it's not like I won't pay you back. There's no need for you to be so stingy. In her past life, Anai Yang had met countless people, but never had she met someone as shameless as Sun Chuanxiang. Not only did she try to steal her business and frame her, she now shamelessly asked for a favor. How laughable! No wonder Zhu Yonghong could do such horrible things. The problem was with the parents. Anai Yang burst into laughter at Sun Chuanxiang. True, I am indeed that stingy. What a sneaky little brat. She deserves to die. Sun Chuanxiang wished she could strangle Anai Yang right there and then. If it weren't for this sneaky brat, would their family have all these problems? Sun Chuanxiang suppressed her anger and continued. Xiaoni, it's fine if you don't lend me 3,000 yuan. Can you lend me 1,000 then? You know that Annie can't make sour fish as well as you do or do as well in her business. We can barely make ends meet. Otherwise, Annie wouldn't have to ask for a loan. In fact, Sun Chuanxiang didn't intend to ask Anai Yang for 3,000 yuan to begin with. 3,000 was merely a buffer, a starting point for negotiations. After all, 1,000 was 2/3 less than 3,000. There's no reason for Anai Yang to refuse to lend her it. Sun Chuanxiang was determined to get the 1,000 yuan today. Anai Yang had to lend her the money, whether she wanted to or not. Anai Yang raised an eyebrow and asked with a smile, Do you think you're more privileged than others? Sun Chuanxiang was taken aback. No. Then why should I lend you money? She finished speaking and turned to leave. Sun Chuanxiang grabbed the corner of Anai Yang's clothes, forcing herself to shed some tears and pleading pitifully. Xiaoni, you can't just leave me to suffer. Take pity on Auntie, lend me some money, otherwise how can Annie survive? Anai Yang smiled slightly and looked down at Sun Chuanxiang. Funny enough, I do like to watch others suffer. Xiaoni, Sun Chuanxiang laughed dryly. Stop joking around. Annie knows you're not that type of person. But I'm that type of person. Anai Yang continued. Also, my mother doesn't have a sister, so stop claiming family relationships here. Sun Chuanxiang was nearly choked with anger, unable to keep her smile. Xiaoni, are you really going to fight with Annie? Anai Yang replied, I already said, my mother doesn't have a sister. Sun Chuanxiang dropped her pretense, revealing her true colors, and lowered her voice to say, You're just a teenager, while I'm almost 50. I've lived long enough. If you really anger me, there's nothing I won't dare to do. You're an outsider in Beijing, with no relatives around. If anything happens to you, there's no one to help you out. Is this a threat? Chapter 116, Thrash Scum, Eat Hot Pot _4. I'm sorry, but she really wasn't scared. Anai Yang wasn't one to be easily frightened. Anai Yang casually picked up a bench nearby, looking like she was ready for a fight. Well, it's just too bad. I'm all alone in the world, too. Worst comes to worst, we can risk our lives together. A seemingly nonchalant remark had scared Sun Chuanxiang quite a bit. Anai Yang was all alone, whereas she had a family to feed, including both sons and daughters. Originally, she just wanted to intimidate Anai Yang, but surprisingly, this little bitch wasn't persuaded by any means. Being so unafraid, nobody could even bully her a bit. Sun Chuanxiang was both furious and scared, frightened that Anai Yang might actually resort to violence. After all, she was the one who came to pick a fight this time. So, if Anai Yang really fought back, she wouldn't be in the right ground. You're leaving me for dead. You'll regret this. Terrified, Sun Chuanxiang backed away several steps, trying to put on a brave front. What goes around comes around. I will wait for the day when you kneel and beg for my mercy. After saying those words, she ran away in fear. Wait, Anai Yang called out to the retreating figure of Sun Chuanxiang. Sun Chuanxiang shuddered in fear, scared that the bench held by Anai Yang would hit her forehead in the next second. She ran faster than a rabbit. How dared she stop for even a moment? And Ai Yang originally intended for Sun Chuanxiang to take away her basket of apples. But she didn't expect Sun Chuanxiang to be such a scaredy cat. So easily frightened, and Ai Yang picked up an apple and was about to throw it into the trash when she looked at the charming red apples. She suddenly retracted her hand. This basket of apples must weigh at least 3 or 4 pounds. It's a waste to throw them away. The rotten one is Sun Chuanxiang, not the apples. Forget it. She'll take the apples then. She can use them to make dried apples and apple cider vinegar later. Not only did she teach Sun Chuanxiang a lesson today, but she also got a basket of apples for free. This was not a bad deal. And Ai Yang was in a good mood and hummed a little tune along the way as she delivered the tables and chairs. Huh! A chuckle came from the quiet alley. A tall figure appeared with a black hat covering his features apart from his attractive jawline. A cigarette wedged between his fingers. The little girl has become more and more ruthless, and more impressive. She's like a raw gem, always bringing unexpected surprises. His little follower Wu Darning walked over, curious. Brother Lu, have you taken a fancy to that little girl? Don't get him wrong. That little girl not only has a fiery temper, but also looks pretty good. There's probably no one as attractive as her in the whole of Beijing. Is the title little girl what you should call her? The man named Brother Lu looked down at Wu Darning. Just wait. She will be your sister-in-law sooner or later. Sister-in-law? Wu Darning looked up at the man. Brother Lu, are you joking? Over the years, countless young girls had chased after Brother Lu, but he wouldn't even take a look at them. Is he now head over heels for someone? While I'm not around, remember to have someone look after your future sister-in-law. After thinking for a moment, the man chuckled. But then again, I don't think anyone can bully her. Wu Darning's mouth dropped open. It took him a while to react, and he quickly set off to catch up with the man. After Sun Chuanxiang went back, the more she thought about it, the more aggrieved she felt. Why? Why did she waste a basket of apples and still end up getting frustrated? No way. She had to get her revenge. She couldn't believe that she, a woman in her 50s, was inferior to a teenage girl. Sister Chuanxiang. Just then, a familiar voice sounded in front of her stall. Sun Chuanxiang looked up and smiled. Xiao Lu. The one who came was not someone else, but Lu Wan. Lu Wan used to work with Sun Chuanxiang in the same workshop. Later, when the factory laid off workers, Sun Chuanxiang was already older and decided to retire early. Since then, she had been operating a small stall to make ends meet. As the saying goes, birds of a feather flock together. Lu Wan and Sun Chuanxiang got along very well due to their similar characters. Sister Chuanxiang, how's business been these past few days? Alt, don't even mention it. Sun Chuanxiang retorted unhappily. A little bitch came by recently and stole all of my business. Lu Wan's interest was piqued. She used to be envious when Sun Chuanxiang was making money by selling buns a few years ago. She even considered quitting her job in the factory to sell buns together. After hearing that someone stole Sun Chengxiang's business, how could Lu Wan not be excited? Chapter 117, Thrash Scum, Eat Hot Pot _5. What's going on? Tell me quickly. Lu Wan suppressed her excitement and sat down on a stool. Just a few months ago, a little temptress with the surname Ni moved to our street. Using her good looks to her advantage, she snatched a lot of my business away. Remember how Hong Hong got arrested recently? She's the one to blame. Sun Chuanxiang shifted all the blame onto Ni Yang. Lu Wan didn't care about who was right or wrong and echoed Sun Chengxiang's words. Such people truly have no shame. Sooner or later, they'll meet their downfall. Don't worry, Sister Chuanxiang. Once I'm free, you'll go and confront that little fox. I want to see how she seduces men. Sun Chuanxiang was deeply moved by Lu Wan's words. Xiao Lu, I really can't thank you enough. With Lu Wan's understanding and willingness to listen, Sun Chuanxiang poured out all her grievances. Upon learning that Sun Chuanxiang had been having a hard time recently, Lu Wan couldn't help but feel overjoyed. To prevent Sun Chuanxiang from asking her for a loan, Lu Wan preemptively said, Sister Chuanxiang, given our many years of friendship, I should step in and help you out during such a difficult time, but all my money has recently gone toward helping my little brother buy a house. With Lu Wan having taken such a stand, what else could Sun Chunxiang say? After delivering the table and chairs to the shop, Ai Yang didn't head straight home. Instead, she made a trip to the agricultural bank, intending to deposit all the money she had earned recently. She now had around 10,000 yuan on her. Not only was it safer to keep the money in the bank, but she could also earn interest. Even though it was Saturday, the bank was not at all crowded. The first reason was that in this era, ordinary workers didn't earn much money and their wages could only cover daily expenses. The second reason was that the banking system of this era was still immature and found it hard to gain people's trust. Ai Yang ended up depositing 19,000 yuan, leaving just over 100 yuan for spending money. 19,000 yuan. Ai Yang looked at the balance in her savings book and calculated silently in her mind. She was now only 7,000 yuan short of buying her own shop. She was now making nearly 300 yuan per day. So, in about another month or so, she would be able to buy and renovate her shop. This was great news. The day she would become a fully fledged individual shop owner was just around the corner. With such exciting news, it was undoubtedly a time to celebrate. Autumn had gradually set in, and in autumn, it was only natural to enjoy some warm food. Ai Yang turned her bicycle around and made a trip to the vegetable market, where she bought plenty of vegetables. She also purchased a charcoal hot pot stove. The stove had 2 layers, making it ideal for cooking in a double flavor pot. Hot pot originated from Sichuan and Chongqing, but at this time, not many people ate it. The first reason was that there were no ready-made hot pot mixes to buy. The essence of hot pot lay in the base ingredients, which the average person would struggle to cook well, especially in an era when people were focused on making money, who had the spare time for gourmet cooking. The second reason was that hot pot consumed too much oil. Most ordinary families couldn't even afford meat, let alone oil. After buying the pot, Ai Yang then headed over to a stall selling beef and mutton. "Boss, how much is the beef?" 5 yuan per pound. Ai Yang pointed at the mutton. "And the mutton?" The beef and mutton vendor was a middle-aged man with a chubby face. Seeing that Ai Yang was a young girl who looked like she couldn't afford to buy meat, he answered impatiently, "Mutton is 5.5 yuan per pound. If you can't afford it, stand further away. Don't block my business." People of this era all pursued fatness. The fatness of being overweight. Due to poverty, they couldn't afford to eat meat, so people believed that those who were fat were wealthy and looked dignified when they went out like a leader. Only those who were wealthy could afford to eat meat, and only those who ate meat could become fat. That's why the rich and the minor leaders of this era all had beer bellies. To them, Ai Yang, who was so slender and tall, didn't look like a rich person. Undeterred by the middle-aged man's attitude, Ai Yang moved on to the next stall and cheerfully pointed to the beef and mutton. "Uncle, I would like a pound of each, please." The vendor at this stall was a friendly, Mediterranean-looking man. The Mediterranean uncle hadn't had any customers all afternoon, so he was surprised when he suddenly got a big order. He cheerfully replied, "Of course, young lady. Wait just a moment." Because beef and mutton were expensive, people who came to buy it usually only bought a few ounces at a time, who will buy a whole pound in one go. Chapter 118 Thrash Scum. Eat Hot Pot 6. Seeing Ai Yang give the bald man 2 big Unity tickets, the middle-aged man instantly regretted so much that his intestines turned green. He slapped himself twice, silently. "Blinded by your dog eyes. Blinded by your dog eyes." Ai Yang took the change from the bald man. Her eyes fell on the cow bones on the counter and asked, "Uncle, how much do you sell these cow bones for?" The bald man enthusiastically replied, "The cow bones cost 2 cents for a pound. If you want 111, give them to you for 1.5 cents a pound." Because the cow bones had no meat and people didn't know how to consume them, these bones basically went unsold. Who would have eaten their fill and bought a few bare bones home? But in Ai Yang's eyes, these cow bones were all treasures. Although there was no meat on the cow bones, they were extremely nutritious. The soup made from them was both fragrant and rich, and they even contained bone marrow. They were perfect for making hot pot broth. "I want 10 pounds. "Okay." The ball man quickly weighed the beef bones, a little over 11 pounds, let's call it 10 pounds. Thank you, uncle. And I Yang handed the bald man a 1 and 5 yuan note and reached out to take the beef bones. Passing by the toy shop, and I Yang purchased a rattle drum and a little rubber ducky for little and I Yin. Little and I Yin was now over 2 months old, and it was a very active time for her. When an I Yang arrived home, Tsuewa was sitting at the front door waiting for N.I. Yang while practicing her handwriting. After some practice, N.I. Quihua's handwriting had greatly improved on her initial attempts. She could now write many characters independently, without having to look at the textbook. Mom, your handwriting is now really beautiful, N.I. Yang complimented sincerely. N.I. Tsuewa responded with a smile. That's all thanks to my little teacher over here. And I Yang said, it's more that you're smart. If you were a dunce, no matter how good one taught, you wouldn't learn. Students under a teacher could be good or bad. And I Tsuehua patted an I Yang's head. All you know is how to please your mother. Speaking of food isn't a pot. Yang, you should go eat. And I Yang nodded and asked, Mom, where's my little sister? She's sleeping in the back room. Oh, funnily enough, just as N.I. Yang stepped into the room, little N.I. Yun woke up. Now, she was gnawing on her white little feet. Seeing N.I. Yang come over, she started laughing happily. Yun. N.I. Yang went over to pick up little N.I. Yun. Even though little N.I. Yun couldn't talk yet, she would still gurgle in excitement when she saw her big sister. N.I. Yang handed little N.I. Yun the rattle drum and the rubber ducky. Is Yun happy? Little N.I. Yin didn't know how to play with the ducky, but she shook the rattle drum, making it create a ruckus. N.I. Tsuehua came in from outside, worried. Yang, money is hard for you to earn. Why are you spending it carelessly on toys for your sister again? N.I. Yang replied with a smile. Buying things for my sister doesn't count as wasting money. N.I. Tsuehua reached out to pick up little N.I. Yun. I'll hold her. You go eat your meal quickly. N.I. Yang turned and headed to the kitchen to eat. In the afternoon, N.I. Yang went down to the river to retrieve the crayfish trap. The river bank was completely deserted, and not even a herdsboy could be seen. It was unknown why, but every time N.I. Yang arrived at the riverbank, she would inexplicably think of Mo Chishan. Was it because Mo Chishan had helped her retrieve the crayfish trap for several days in a row? Not long ago, N.I. Yang had been able to see Mo Chishan by the river every afternoon. Yet, starting from yesterday, he seemed to have evaporated from the face of the earth. In such times, there were no mobile phones, let alone WeChat or QQ. Once someone lost contact with another, they might never see each other again. Thinking about this, N.I. Yang suddenly felt a sense of melancholy. But the very next second, N.I. Yang chuckled faintly. He was just a man. What was there to be heartbroken about? A man as ungrateful as a stray dog. Good riddance if he left. After returning home, N.I. Yang prepared the fish she had gotten and started preparing dinner for the night. The first thing she did was to parboil the beef bones before scooping out the floating scum and starting over to make the soup. Add to it some green onions, ginger, garlic, star anise, and cinnamon bark. After bringing it to a rolling boil, turn down the heat and let it simmer for a few minutes, gradually letting the fragrance spread. It somewhat resembled the flavor of the Lanzhou hand-pulled noodles from her past life. However, it was much more fragrant than that of the Lanzhou noodles. While the beef bone soup was simmering on the stove, N.I. Yang started preparing the hot pot base. N.I. Yang had worked in the catering industry in her previous life, so she knew how to make the sauce base more flavorful and which ingredients paired well with it. In no time, the aroma filled the entire courtyard. The smell was mouth-watering. While N.I. Yang was preparing the spices, N.I. Tsuehua was washing vegetables on the side. N.I. Yang bought a lot of vegetables. There was duck's blood, tripe kelp, beef and lamb, bean sprouts, enoki mushrooms, and so on. Of course, no hot pot would be complete without fish balls and shrimp paste. However, pre-made shrimp paste wasn't available at this time, so N.I. Yang planned to make it herself and see if she could succeed. The fish and shrimp were just caught from the fish trap today, so there was no cost involved. N.I. Quihua's knife skills were impressive. In no time, She removed the bones from the shrimp and fish meat and minced them. That night, when Enai Chingue saw the hot and steamy copper pot on the table with a layer of red oil floating on the surface, she couldn't help exclaiming, "Yang Yang, are we having hot pot tonight?" Enai Yang came out from the back. "Yes, Annie and I, we're having hot pot tonight." There was a hot pot restaurant in the city of Beijing. Enai Chingue had gone there once with her boss, but because of the high price, she never went again. Although it had been a long time since, and Chingue would never forget that delicious, spicy, and sour taste. She just didn't know if the hot pot Enai Yang made would be as delicious as the one she had last time. When Enai Chingue tasted the food from the hot pot, she was so excited she didn't know what to say. It was so delicious, 100 times better than the one she had in the restaurant before. The boiled beef dipped in the oil sauce prepared by Enai Yang tasted divine. A subtle spiciness and numbness danced on the tip of her tongue, stimulating the taste buds and leaving an unforgettable aftertaste. And with a glass of ice-cold plum juice, it was irresistibly delicious. Enai Chingue picked up a humble-looking meatball, originally thinking that it was just a regular meatball, only to be surprised by its firm texture. One bite, and it was smooth and chewy, mouthful of meaty flavor, satisfying and fulfilling, making one wish to swallow even their tongue. Enai Chingue had never tasted such a meat bale before, and curiously asked, "Yang Yang, what kind of meat bale is this?" Enai Yang explained with a smile, "This is called shrimp paste. It's made from shrimp meat and starch." Enai Chingue was surprised and asked, "You made this shrimp paste yourself?" Enai Yang nodded. Amazing. Enai Yang was truly amazing. If Enai Yang were to open a hot pot restaurant, the one in the city would have to close instantly. But Enai Chingue couldn't bother praising Enai Yang anymore, because the hot pot was so delicious that she just wanted to enjoy it fully. Enai Tsuehua picked up a piece of tripe and said, "Yang Yang, this tripe is a bit tough to chew. Did it get undercooked?" Enai Yang picked up a piece of raw tripe, and while demonstrating how to cook it, explained, "When eating tripe, you have to swish it back and forth 7 up, 8 down like this." Chapter 119, A Slap in the Face. Turns out Enai Yin was not bragging. Underscore 1 7 up, 8 down. This so-called 7 up, 8 down refers to rinsing a piece of tripe 7 times in the hot pot. The whole process takes about 15 seconds. Not only was Enai Tsuehua stunned by this, even Enai Chingue was taken aback, because it was their first time learning that tripe could be eaten like this. Was it really cooked just by scalding it a few times? Tripe usually has a very strong smell. Enai Yang placed the scalded tripe on Enai Quihua's plate. "Mom, please have a taste." Enai Tsuehua stared at the tripe in the bowl, hesitated for 2 seconds, then picked it up and put it in her mouth and began to chew. Her originally cold expression gradually turned into one of astonishment. The tripe not only lacked the expected strong smell, but was crisp and tender, dissolving beautifully in her mouth. It was numbingly spicy, and biting into it released the flavors of sesame and crushed peanuts, whetting her appetite and complementing her meal so well it brought tears to her eyes. Having tasted something so delicious, Enai Tsuehua felt that even if she was asked to ascend to heaven to be an immortal, she might not agree. Seeing Enai Quihua's reaction, Enai Chingue couldn't resist swallowing. "Yang Yang's mom, how does it taste?" "Delicious." Enai Tsuehua nodded her head in agreement. "Sister Chingue, you should try it too." Was it really that delicious? Initially resistant, Enai Chingue, seeing Enai Quihua's reaction, immediately picked up a piece of tripe and 7 up, 8 down in the bubbling red oil pot. The flavor was surprisingly good. "Yang Yang, where did you learn this new way of eating? The taste is really good." Enai Chingue had not even heard of this 7 up, 8 down method before. Enai Yang smiled and said, "It was introduced in a gourmet cookbook." Enai Chingue nodded. "Oh." The boiling red oil in the pot filled the air with smoke, veiling the laughter of the 3 people. Enai Yang, who had not eaten spicy food for a long time, was eating duck's blood while gulping down sour plum soup. It was the first time Enai Yang discovered that Enai Tsuehua and Ni Changwei could eat so much spicy food. They heartily enjoyed the hot pot meal. In the end, Ni Changwei took the initiative to clean up, while Ni Suehua went to feed and bathe the baby. Ni Yang was in the kitchen preparing Mrs. Mo's meal. The kitchen lights were a bit dim. When Ni Changwei turned around, she saw Ni Yang bent over focusing on her work. In the dim light, her features seemed extremely delicate. Her eyes were clear and radiant like dazzling stars, and her skin was so tender it looked like it could be pinched out water. In terms of attractiveness, she could easily outclass even the most traditionally beautiful girls. Compared to Ni Yang 2 months ago, the Ni Yang now looked 10 times better. Moreover, it was not only Ni Yang who had changed. Ni Changwei also noticed many changes in herself. The most noticeable changes were to her breasts, teeth, and hair. Her breasts had become much firmer, making her look better in clothes. Her teeth had become whiter. Even though she brushed twice a day, her teeth were never quite white, always giving off a slight yellow tint. But now, every day when she looked in the mirror, she could see her teeth shining. Also, her hair, which used to be dry, brittle, and yellowish, had now become black and shiny, so smooth that female colleagues around her were asking her what brand of shampoo she used. Ni Changwei felt that all these changes were because of the delicious food that Ni Yang cooked. Thinking this in her heart, Ni Changwei asked out loud. Ni Yang did not expect that Ni Changwei would be so observant to notice these details. Faced with Ni Changwei's curiosity, Ni Yang smiled and nodded. Yes, Annie and I, it does have a lot to do with the food we eat every day. Ni Changwei was amazed and said, Yang, how did you manage to achieve this? I've been eating food all my life, and I've never known that food can have a beautifying effect. Ni Yang smiled and said, it mainly depends on eating the right things. Some beauty is inherent, and some beauty depends on daily maintenance. Here, Ni Yang pulled out the menu. For example, look at this sour and spicy tender ginger mixed with lettuce. Ginger is known for its rust-removing properties, and lettuce contains fluorine. The combination of these two can effectively whiten teeth, and Changwei was amazed by hearing this. No wonder my teeth have gotten so much whiter recently. It turns out to be the effect of ginger and lettuce. Yang, how did you know all this? Ni Yang explained, because I am a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner, I know a little about the efficacy of plants. Ni Changwei nodded, and for a moment, she felt even more admiration for Ni Yang. Chapter 128 Slap in the Face. Turns out Ni Yin was not bragging. This little girl is really incredible. She's much more outstanding than someone who has lived for over 40 years. Ni Suehua is truly blessed to have such a wonderful daughter in this life. Ni Changwei then asked, Yang, what kind of benefits do the meals you prepare for the old lady have? As Ni Yang was washing the vegetables, she replied, elderly people have a poor appetite, so I prepare some appetizing and easily digestible dishes. Occasionally, one also prepares some dishes that can prevent osteoporosis. The next morning, Ni Yang got up at around 3 o'clock. When she arrived at the snack street, as usual, there were already many people waiting in line for her. In order to eat the fragrant noodles earlier, everyone voluntarily helped Ni Yang to set up the tables, chairs, and stools. With everyone's help, all the preparations were done in less than 5 minutes. Ni Yang expressed her gratitude with a smile. Someone joked, young boss, if you work faster and get the noodles ready sooner, that's the best way to thank us. That's right, young boss. Hurry up. All of us are waiting to eat noodles. Ni Yang didn't waste time and immediately started to prepare the noodles skillfully. Soon, slurping noises filled the air as everyone started to eat their noodles. Enjoying a bite of the sour and refreshing noodles, followed by a sip of sour plum soup, tasted incredibly good. A lot of people were marveling at how the noodles could be so delicious while they were eating. Li Gongsheng came a bit late that morning, and it was almost his turn when the noodles were about to sell out. As per usual, Ni Yang cooked 2 bowls of noodles for him. After finishing his meal, Li Gongqing walked over to Ni Yang and handed her a beautifully wrapped box and a red envelope. "Xiaoni, this is for you." Ni Yang didn't reach out to take it and looked at him in surprise. Li Gongqing explained, "This is from our old lady. She really enjoys the meals you prepare." Ni Yang tactfully refused. "You've already paid for the meals. I can't accept this." Even though Ni Yang liked money, she was not greedy. "It's okay," Li Gongqing said with a smile. "The old lady really likes you, and ever since she started eating your food, her health has significantly improved. This is what you deserve." When the old lady asked me to give you this, she repeatedly reminded me that you must accept it. Besides, the old lady always likes to give us tips, so just accept it without feeling any pressure. Everything Li Gongqing said was true, and since the old lady asked him to bring these things, she didn't plan to take them back. Moreover, these things mean nothing to the wealthy Mo family. After saying all that, Li Gongqing was left with no other arguments, and Ai Yang had no choice but to accept it. "Then please thank the old lady for me when you go back, Mr. Li." Scratching his head, Li Gongqing said with a smile, "Our old lady always says she should thank you." After all, Ai Yang gave Mrs. Mo a healthier body. Money has a price, but health is priceless. Along with the sour plum soup, Ai Yang earned over 310 yuan today. When she got home, Ai Yang opened the gift box and red envelope from Mrs. Mo while eating. There were 18 Unity notes in the red envelope, which amounted to 180 yuan. The gift in the box gave Ai Yang quite a shock. Inside the red velvet box was a flat, patterned pure gold bracelet. It had a significant weight in her hand, at least 30 or 40 grams. At this time, gold was priced at 5 yuan per gram. At the current exchange rate of the RMB, this bracelet was worth more than 1,500 yuan. It must be said, the old woman is extremely generous. Giving a gift worth more than 1,000 yuan without a second thought really showed the Mo family's substantial wealth. Just then, Cui Hua came out from her room. When she saw the gold bracelet in Ni Yang's hand, she was startled. "Yang Yang, is this gold bracelet real or fake?" At that time, a worker could only buy 1 gram of gold with a month's salary, so gold was a particularly precious commodity. Ni Yang recounted the whole story to Ni Cui Hua. Ni Cui Hua sighed. She couldn't imagine how wealthy the Mo family must be to give away a gold bracelet so casually. "Yang Yang, since the old lady values you so much, you must be even more responsible in the future. Don't let down the old lady's trust and affection for you," Ni Cui Hua instructed. And Ai Yang nodded. "Yes, Mom, don't worry, I will." Chapter 077. A slap in the face. Turns out Ni Yin was not bragging. This little girl is really incredible. She's much more outstanding than someone who has lived for over 40 years. And Ai Cui Hua is truly blessed to have such a wonderful daughter in this life. And Ai Chingay then asked, "Yang Yang, what kind of benefits do the meals you prepare for the old lady have?" As Ai Yang was washing the vegetables, she replied, "Elderly people have a poor appetite, so I prepare some appetizing and easily digestible dishes. Occasionally, one also prepares some dishes that can prevent osteoporosis." The next morning, Ai Yang got up around 3 o'clock. When she arrived at the snack street, as usual, there were already many people waiting in line for her. In order to eat the fragrant noodles earlier, everyone voluntarily helped Ai Yang to set up the tables, chairs, and stools. With everyone's help, all the preparations were done in less than 5 minutes. Ai Yang expressed her gratitude with a smile. Someone joked, "Young boss, if you work faster and get the noodles ready sooner, that's the best way to thank us." "That's right, young boss. Hurry up. All of us are waiting to eat noodles." Ai Yang didn't waste time and immediately started to prepare the noodles skillfully. Soon, slurping noises filled the air as everyone started to eat their noodles. Enjoying a bite of the sour and refreshing noodles, followed by a sip of sour plum soup, tasted incredibly good. A lot of people were marveling at how the noodles could be so delicious while they were eating. Li Gongqing came a bit late that morning, and it was almost his turn when the noodles were about to sell out. As per usual, Ai Yang cooked 2 bowls of noodles for him. After finishing his meal, Li Gongqing walked over to Nai Yang and handed her a beautifully wrapped box and a red envelope. Xiaoni, this is for you. Nai Yang didn't reach out to take it and looked at him in surprise. Li Gongsheng explained, this is from our old lady. She really enjoys the meals you prepare. Nai Yang tactfully refused. You've already paid for the meals. I can't accept this. Even though Nai Yang liked money, she was not greedy. It's okay, Li Gongsheng said with a smile. The old lady really likes you, and ever since she started eating your food, her health has significantly improved. This is what you deserve. When the old lady asked me to give you this, she repeatedly reminded me that you must accept it. Besides, the old lady always likes to give us tips, so just accept it without feeling any pressure. Everything Li Gongsheng said was true, and since the old lady asked him to bring these things, she didn't plan to take them back. Moreover, these things mean nothing to the wealthy Mo family. After saying all that, Li Gongsheng was left with no other arguments, and Ai Yang had no choice but to accept it. Then please thank the old lady for me when you go back, Mr. Li. Scratching his head, Li Gongsheng said with a smile, our old lady always says she should thank you. After all, Ai Yang gave Mrs. Mo a healthier body. Money has a price, but health is priceless. Along with the sour plum soup, Ai Yang earned over 310 yuan today. When she got home, Ai Yang opened the gift box and red envelope for Mrs. Mo while eating. There were 18 Unity notes in the red envelope, which amounted to 180 yuan. The gift in the box gave Ai Yang quite a shock. Inside the red velvet box was a flat, patterned pure gold bracelet. It had a significant weight in her hand, at least 30 or 40 grams. At this time, gold was priced at 5 yuan per gram. At the current exchange rate of the RMB, this bracelet was worth more than 1,500 yuan. It must be said, the old woman is extremely generous. Giving a gift worth more than 1,000 yuan without a second thought really showed the Mo family's substantial wealth. Just then, Nai Suihua came out from her room. When she saw the gold bracelet in Nai Yang's hand, she was startled. Yang, is this gold bracelet real or fake? At that time, a worker could only buy 1 gram of gold with a month's salary, so gold was a particularly precious commodity. Nai Yang recounted the whole story to Nai Suihua. Nai Suihua sighed. She couldn't imagine how wealthy the Mo family must be to give away a gold bracelet so casually. Yang, since the old lady values you so much, you must be even more responsible in the future. Don't let down the old lady's trust and affection for you. Nai Suihua instructed. Ai Yang nodded. Yes, Mom, don't worry, I will. Chapter 121. A slap in the face. Turns out Nai Yin was not bragging. 3 with that, Ai Yang handed the bracelet to Nai Suihua. Mom, this bracelet is for you. One don't want it. Nai Suihua refused. You should keep what the old lady gave you. Ai Yang smiled. What does it look like for a young girl like me to wear this? Besides, one don't like wearing things on my hand. Nai Suihua continued to refuse. A woman my age wearing a bracelet would invite ridicule. A bracelet like this should be worn by young girls like you. Ai Yang pushed the bracelet into Nai Kuihua's hand. Mom, just take it. Seeing Nai Yang insisting, Nai Suihua had no choice but to take it. Then one will keep it for you. When you get married, I will give it back to you as part of your dowry. Ai Yang chuckled. Mom, just wear it yourself. Nai Suihua, not one for showiness, denied. I won't wear it. I'm keeping it for you. Ai Yang continued. Anyway, I have already given the bracelet to you. You could do anything you want with it. Nai Suihua turned back to her room and hid the bracelet in a concealed spot. In the blink of an eye, nearly a month had passed. Ai Yang's business had been surprisingly good during this time, with a queue of customers waiting for noodles every morning. This provoked such jealousy in Sun Chunxiang that she wished for Ai Yang to drop dead on the spot. Luckily, curses and voodoo dolls were useless. Otherwise, Ai Yang might have died hundreds of times. Interestingly enough, Qian Jinfeng woke up late because of a cold and didn't prepare breakfast, so she decided to go to the snack street to buy something to eat. From afar, she saw a long queue at one of the stalls. Is this a new breakfast stall? How much money would the boss make from so many customers? As Qian Jinfeng approached, through the smoke, she saw a profoundly familiar face. Is this an Aiyong? Yes, those stools, that table, that big bucket, that bicycle, they all certainly belonged to an Aiyong. Once she was sure she wasn't mistaken, Qian Jinfeng rubbed her eyes and refocused on an Aiyong. It was an Aiyong. Indeed, it was an Aiyong. My goodness. Turns out an Aiyong hadn't been bluffing. Her business was indeed booming. Isn't that horrifying? Qian Jinfeng counted and found almost 100 people waiting in line. And not only was N.I. Yang selling noodles, but she was also selling drinks. How much money must she be making? Qian Jinfeng instantly became envious. She forced a smile and walked over to a middle-aged woman who was sitting by the roadside eating noodles. Big sister, how much did you pay for this bowl of noodles? The middle-aged woman replied with a smile. Not expensive, it's quite cheap. Only 3 cents a bowl. Lady, if you want to eat, you should get in line quickly. If you queue now, you might still get a bowl. This young stall owner only makes 700 bowls a day, and once they're sold out, that's it. 3 cents a bowl, and she can sell 700 bowls a day. After getting the exact answer, Qian Jinfeng began to calculate in her mind how much N.I. Yang could earn in a day. She wouldn't know until she did the math, and once she did, it startled her. N.I. Yang could make 210 yuan a day. That's 6,300 yuan a month. And this was just from selling noodles. She was selling drinks as well. N.I. Yang must be earning at least 9,000 yuan a month. Realizing that the earning could be 9,000 yuan, Qian Jinfeng felt even worse than if she had eaten a lemon. She couldn't stop the bitterness welling up in her heart. She owned a small shop that only made about 100 yuan a day, while N.I. Yang, who had set up just a stand, was making 3 times as much as she was. How frightening was that? Vigorously subduing her astonishment, Qian Jinfeng didn't even bother buying breakfast. She just wanted to rush home and tell all of this to Li Dongliang. Seeing Qian Jinfeng coming back empty-handed, Li Dongliang was somewhat indignant. Didn't you say you were going to buy breakfast? Where's the breakfast? Qian Jinfeng said, Old Li, guess who I saw on the snack street just now? Who? Asked Li Dongliang without even looking up. And Aiyang. Qian Jinfeng spurted out the 2 words. Unfazed, Li Dongliang said, So what if you saw her? She used to brag about her successful business. How is it? Did she look embarrassed and awkward when she saw you? What could a young girl like her know about doing business? She'll probably go bankrupt within a few days. Caught by Qian Jinfeng now, that young girl won't dare to even lift her head when she comes to their house to place things. Awkward? Why should she feel awkward? Qian Jinfeng bitterly said, Her business is doing well. The queue almost reaches the entrance to our store. Chapter 122, A Slap in the Face. Turns out N.I. Yin was not bragging. _4. No way. Are you running a fever or something? Li Dongliang reached out to feel Qian Jinfeng's forehead. Qian Jinfeng grabbed Li Dongliang's hand. Don't believe me? He'll take you to see for yourself. It wasn't until they arrived at N.I. Yang's stall that Li Dongliang finally opened his eyes in surprise. He even slapped himself twice to see if he was dreaming. Then, Qian Jinfeng explained to Li Dongliang how much N.I. Yang was making each day. What? After hearing this, Li Dongliang was totally shocked. She earns 9,000 yuan a month? Are you kidding me? Does she tell you how much she makes daily? Seeing Li Dongliang's disbelief, Qian Jinfeng made a calculation. Pickled fish noodles cost 3 cents per bowl. She sells about 700 bowls a day. Sour plum soup costs 1 cent per cup. She sells about 1,000 cups a day. You can do the math. Li Dongliang immediately began calculating with his fingers, and indeed, the result was no different from what Qian Jinfeng had calculated. At this moment, Li Dongliang was completely deflated. Just like Qian Jinfeng, he was so envious he almost wanted to overturn N.I. Yang's stand. Why did their big store make less money than half of what N.I. Yang earned? That was too bullying. The couple looked downcast, as if someone owed them millions. They gave up on buying breakfast because the sourness in their stomachs was too much. They were already filled with sourness. After returning to their shop, The couple didn't even bother to do business and sighed to each other. Around 11 o'clock in the morning, after all her noodles were sold, Na-Yong brought her tables and stools to Li Dongliang's shop. Na-Yong still greeted Li Dongliang and Qian Jinfeng warmly as usual. Normally, Li Dongliang would ask smugly, Yang, how was business today? But today, after witnessing Na-Yang's business with his own eyes, did Li Dongliang still have the mood to poke fun at Na-Yang? Moreover, every time he saw Na-Yang's face, he would think about how much money she was making, and his heart would constrict with indigestion. It's so uncomfortable. Envy is a green-eyed monster, and Na-Yang didn't think too much. She just arranged her tables and stools by herself. Just then, Li Wei came down the stairs with his textbooks. When he saw Na-Yang there, he took his books to ask Na-Yang for help. Na-Yang, could you help me with this English question? Na-Yang glanced back, sure. An English question that seemed difficult to Li Wei was solved by Na-Yang in less than a minute. As it happened often, Li Wei was not surprised but calmly thanked her. Anyway, as long as Na-Yang was just a self-employed worker, she would never be as good as him, so there was nothing to be jealous of. Na-Yang smiled and said, You're welcome. In the room, Qian Jinfeng nudged Li Dongliang with her elbow, gesturing for him to look out the window. Old Li, look, that girl Na-Yang is intentionally talking to our Xiao Wei again. Li Dongliang's envious heart finally found some balance. He snorted. So what if she can make money? Without an education, she'll always be a lower-class person. Our Xiao Wei would never settle for her. No matter how capable Na-Yang was, she still wanted to marry their son. Pitiful. Their family really looked down on Na-Yang. Their son Li Wei was their golden phoenix. What did Na-Yang count for? She wouldn't even qualify as a sparrow. Qian Jinfeng nodded. Yeah, you're right, old Li. I have to talk to Xiao Wei properly and make sure he doesn't get bewitched by this fox. Na-Yang went to the agricultural bank again today and deposited 7,500 yuan. Together with the previous 19,000, it all added up to 26,500 yuan. That was more than enough to buy a shop. However, Na-Yang planned to keep selling noodles until the end of the month before buying the shop, because there would be renovation costs, hiring workers, and many other expenses. Now that she persisted until the present and could buy a shop, Na-Yang finally breathed a sigh of relief. In the evening, Na-Yang made another table full of delicious food. That night, Qian Jinfeng couldn't sleep. She kept tossing and turning. Why? Why can Na-Yang make so much money in a day? Similarly, Li Dongliang next to her couldn't sleep either. Qian Jinfeng poked Li Dongliang. Let me ask you. You lend a shop downstairs to Na-Yang for storing her tables and stools. How much do you charge her per month? 1 yuan. Li Dongliang answered. 1 yuan. Qian Jinfeng exploded. She makes so much money selling noodles every day, and you only charge her 1 yuan? Chapter 123, A Slap in the Face. Turns out Na-Yang was not bragging. _5. Li Dongliang said restlessly. How could one have known she made so much money before? Qian Jinfeng continued. No, we should increase her rent. How much? Li Dongliang asked next. Qian Jinfeng held up one finger. I owe yuan? Li Dongliang asked. No. Qian Jinfeng shook her head. Li Dongliang incredulously said. It couldn't be 100, could it? Yes, Qian Jinfeng nodded. It is 100. 100? You know, the rent for their entire shop was just a little over 100. This would mean that Na-Yang was paying their rent. Moreover, Na-Yang was just using some tables and stools. Could she afford 100 yuan? Qian Jinfeng noticed Li Dongliang's concerns. Doesn't pay? She dare not pay. If she doesn't, I will not let her place things here. If it weren't for placing her goods here, would she be able to earn so much money? I think 100 is too little. In my opinion, it's not unreasonable for Na-Yang to share half of her earnings with us. Li Dongliang nodded. You have a point. Qian Jinfeng was absolutely right. If it weren't for their help, Na-Yang wouldn't have been able to earn so much money. After all, the people in Na-Yang should be most grateful toward their family. Qian Jinfeng added, Don't worry about this. One will talk to her tomorrow morning. Okay. After discussing the matter, the couple went to sleep. The next morning, Qian Jinfeng cheerfully brought up the rent increase to Enai Yang. 100? Did Qian Jinfeng really think money flowed from a river? Such audacity. Enai Yang said with a full smile. Auntie Qian, there are a few days left till next month. For this month, my rent agreement was settled with Uncle Li. At the beginning of next month, we can raise the rent. Don't worry, I won't shortchange you by a cent. Qian Jinfeng did not expect Enai Yang to agree to her request so readily. If she had known, she would have asked for more rent just now. Perhaps Enai Yang also understood that her profits were all thanks to their help. Enai Yang, that foxy creature, seemed to have some sense after all. Qian Jinfeng continued. Yang, let's take advantage of this spare time and sign the agreement for next month. You can also pay next month's rent in advance. Enai Yang smiled and said, Auntie Qian, let's talk about next month when it comes. I don't have that much money on me right now. Upon hearing this, Qian Jinfeng became displeased. Your business is doing so well. How could you possibly not have money? Enai Yang began to complain. No matter how good the business is, there are still costs involved like fish, noodles, oil, labor costs. Each one costs money. Auntie Qian, you're also a businesswoman. You should understand why. Qian Jinfeng added, how much could those things cost? Don't think one don't know. The fish is not expensive at all. Enai Yang swiftly arranged the tables and stools, then said, Goodbye, Auntie Qian. We'll talk about the rent next month. She already had an agreement with Li Dongliang for this month's rent, so she wasn't afraid of Qian Jinfeng causing trouble. By next month, she would be long gone, leaving Qian Jinfeng frustrated. Having said this, Enai Yang rode her bicycle off into the distance. Qian Jinfeng spit on the ground out of anger. Humph! Little vixen. Enai Yang wouldn't be able to escape. Next month was just next month then. Qian Jinfeng thought to herself, should she adjust the rent to 200 yuan next month? After all, they hold Enai Yang's lifeline. As long as they don't allow Enai Yang to place her items, she wouldn't be able to do business. Never mind 200. Even if it were 300, Enai Yang would have to pay. With this in mind, Qian Jinfeng felt quite pleased. After hearing about Sun Chengxiang's affairs, Luan had wanted to see the noodle vendor herself. She wanted to see what Sun Chengxiang's so-called little vixen looked like. It was finally Lu Wan's day off. When she arrived, it was nearly 11, but the stall still had a long queue. At this moment, a clear, unmatched female voice sounded through the air. There are only 10 portions of noodle soup left, and the sour plum soup has sold out. There is no need to queue any longer. Come and get a small card from me. Tomorrow morning, you can come and get a bowl of noodles for 5 cents cheaper. This voice, why did it sound so familiar? Luan frowned slightly. She strode a few steps forward. Upon seeing the vendor, she was stunned. The person selling the noodles was no one else but Enai Yang. Chapter 124, A Slap in the Face. Turns out Enai Yang was not bragging. _6. Could this really be Enai Yang, the rustic bumpkin? Why would she be selling noodles here? Luan felt her worldview slowly crumbling. How much did Sun Chengxiang say this bumpkin could earn in a day again? Was it 300? 300. That's 300. She and Enai Zhu worked in the factory, toiling to the point of exhaustion, only to earn 40 yuan a month. Together, they made 80 yuan a month. But good old bumpkin Enai Yang could make 2 months' worth of their wage in a day. Luan was practically green with envy. At the same time, she deeply regretted not taking this country buffoon in initially. Maybe all the money this hayseed was making could have been hers. Just the thought of it made her heart ache. But it wasn't too late to realize this now. After all, she was Enai Yang's aunt, her elder. Enai Yang should hand over the money she earned for safekeeping. What on earth does this rustic who knows nothing want with so much money? She probably doesn't even know how to put it aside, much less guard it. What if she loses it? Luan took a deep breath, walked up to Enai Yang with a smile, and affectionately greeted, Yang. Enai Yang handed her last bowl of noodles to a customer, looked up, and saw Lu Wan's ingratiating face. A look of indifference crossed Enai Yang's face. Comrade, Do I know you? Caught off guard, Lu Wan chuckled. Yang Yang, look at the way you talk. I'm your aunt. How could you not recognize me after just a few days? And I Yang had thought Sun Chunxiang was already brazen enough. Turns out, Lu Wan put her to shame. My mom is an orphan who doesn't even know who her parents are. Are you claiming to be an ant who sprouted from a rock? And I Yang retorted. With a thick skin, Lu Wan smiled. Yang Yang, your aunt knows you're still angry about that day. But your uncle only spoke rashly out of anger. Your mother is his biological sister after all. Without a word, and I Yang began clearing the stove and the bucket, ignoring Lu Wan. Lu Wan immediately started helping, smiling obsequiously. Yang Yang, this strenuous manual labor isn't suitable for a young girl like you. Let your aunt handle it. Go have a rest. Put it down. And I Yang's voice was composed. What? Lu Wan blinked in surprise, her smile slightly forced. If an I Yang was not rolling in money, she would not stoop so low as to fawn over her. What a disgusting act. Does she think she's something special? I'm asking you to put it down. And I Yang repeated. Her tone was calm, but carried an undercurrent that cut deep. The hand Lu Wan was using to hold the large iron spoon trembled involuntarily. Why, Yang Yang? Why, you don't need to be polite with your aunt. I'm not tired. And I Yang continued. Miss, if you don't put my stuff down, 111 be contacting the police for robbery. There are patrolling officers right over there. Robbery? The word made Lu Wan turn white. It was a critical time with strict law enforcement. As a formal factory worker, even a tiny blemish could get her fired from the factory. Besides, Lu Wan cared a great deal about her reputation. If the police were really summoned here, in this great public spectacle, how could she save face? Yang Yang, don't be upset. Your aunt will put it down. One will put it down. Lu Wan carefully placed the large iron spoon back into the bucket. Stay away from me. And I Yang spoke coldly. Lu Wan immediately stepped back. Why, Yang Yang? Your uncle didn't mean what happened that day. He regrets it very much after you and your mother left. He was so worried that he couldn't sleep or eat well for several days. Your uncle is, after all, an elder. Can you please let it go? Your aunt is willing to apologize on behalf of your uncle. Lu Wan went on in a humble tone, saying many nice words to N.I. Yang, but N.I. Yang did not respond at all. Yang Yang, we were wrong, really wrong. Please stop being angry. Even if N.I. Yang was highly temperamental, she was only a teenage girl after all. Teenage girls were easily influenced, and maybe she could easily call her aunt with a smile after a while, Lu Wan idealistically thought. After clearing up, N.I. Yang finally had time to look at the fawning Lu Wan. A mocking smile played on her lips. When one treat you like a human, for the love of God, don't act like a dog. A dog? Was N.I. Yang insulting her? Lu Wan was a bit slow to react. What do you mean? N.I. Yang mildly smiled. I'm just asking you to act like a human. Lu Wan was almost spitting with fury, yet she managed to force a smile. Yang Yang, stop joking around. N.I. Yang raised an eyebrow. Oh, so being called a dog now affects your understanding of human speech? Stifling her rage, Lu Jinave drew a deep breath, forcing herself to calm down. For the sake of money, she could not lose her temper. She mustn't. Having ignored Lu Wan again, N.I. Yang started carrying tables and chairs over to Li Dongliang's store. Lu Wan wanted to follow N.I. Yang, but she didn't dare. No, she needed a foolproof plan. Perhaps she could start with N.I. Tsuehua. That dim-witted creature N.I. Tsuehua would be much easier to manipulate than N.I. Yang. Yes, that's the way. Thinking about it, Lu Wan seemed to see numerous huge banknotes waving at her. Elated, she turned around to return. As long as she knew N.I. Yang was selling noodles here, she wasn't afraid N.I. Yang would run off. But for the upcoming matter, she needed N.I. Dezhu to take action. After all, he and N.I. Tsuehua were biological siblings. After returning, Lu Wan told N.I. Dezhu everything. Upon hearing this, N.I. Dezhu was shocked. Really? You didn't see it wrong? Is that bitch actually that rich now? Could I have seen it wrong? Lu Wan continued. I even talked to her today, but her words, her tone, it seems like she may not want to acknowledge us. In rage, N.I. Dezhu spat. am her biological uncle. She dares to disavow us. Luan nodded. So let us go to their house tomorrow. That bitch makes a lot of money now, but you're her uncle. Her money should naturally be under your care. Having put on airs in front of Luan for the first time, and Taju was quite pleased with himself. Definitely. After all, I'm her uncle. If she doesn't give it to me, who else would she give it to? Hearing his words, Luan narrowed her eyes into a smile, attentively massaging Inai Daz's arms and legs, serving him well. Inai Taju, who had always been henpecked, was finally able to sit back and reap the rewards. His face was all smiles. Luan continued, I think that bitch must have at least a small 10,000 yuan on her hands by now. You must get it all tomorrow. Our girl Chuanxiang has long wanted new clothes, but they're too expensive in the mall, so one didn't have the heart to buy them. Chapter 125, Tortured to the point where not even dregs remain. _1. Even the cheapest clothes in a mall were over 30 yuan apiece, close to Luan's monthly salary. So how could she afford to buy them? But now it's different. Their family has money. They could afford not just one, but even 10 items. Early the next morning, Luan woke up Lu Xiangxiang. As the only daughter in the family, Lu Xiangxiang was pampered and loved at home. She responded angrily. Can't you let me sleep in a bit? Are you summoning spirits? Luan laughed. Don't be upset. Get dressed. We are going to your aunt's house. Aunt? She has an aunt? At this point, Lu Xiangxiang froze, screaming, You woke me up so early, and it isn't to go to that rural bumpkin's house, is it? Luan nodded. Mom, you must have a fever. Lu Xiangxiang reached out to touch Luan's forehead. Didn't we already sever ties with that bumpkin? Luan laughed and told her daughter what had happened, instructing. Xiangxiang, when we get to your aunt's house, you must remember to be polite. No more acting disrespectful. Lu Xiangxiang could not believe it. Does that bumpkin and Aiyang really have so much money now? Indeed, Luan nodded. I have seen it with my own eyes. Lu Xiangxiang continued. Mom, does that mean once we have money, I could buy lots of beautiful clothes? Yes, Luan added. I'm also planning to buy some furniture for our home, a fridge, an electric fan, and such. That's great. Lu Xiangxiang jumped up excitedly, immediately went to her room to change clothes. Lu Xiangxiang quickly changed. She wore a bright red dress, which Eniju had reluctantly bought for her as a birthday gift last year. It cost 39 yuan. Usually, Lu Xiangxiang would not wear it, but it was different now. Their family was about to become rich. Besides, she was going to see an Aiyang. Even though that country bumpkin in Aiyang was not educated, she was pretty. Lu Xiangxiang didn't want to lose to an Aiyang. The family of 3 set off grandly. When they got to the street, Luan said, Daju, why don't we buy some fruit to bring with us? Daju retorted, Buy fruit? Why waste that money? As that girl's uncle, should she not be buying fruit for me? It's already a great favor for me to visit her. Seeing how Inai Tsuawa begged last time, you can tell she sincerely cares for her brother. After all, a woman leading 2 children around needs a man, right? Without a doubt, once Inai Tsuawa sees him, she would cry tears of joy. She might even kneel before him. Thinking of this, Inai Daju felt even more proud. Lu Xiangxiang agreed. Dad is right. Why should we buy fruit for her? Are we buttering her up? The family of 3 boarded the tram. Luan had already started planning for the future. Daju, this trip is not just about making Inai Tsuehua cough up the money, but also about having that brat Inai Yang take Xiangxiang under her wing when she does business. Upon hearing this, Lu Xiangxiang immediately objected. I don't want to do dirty and tiring work with that bumpkin. It's tiring, not to mention embarrassing. Luan laughed. Don't worry, Xiangxiang. Mom's not asking you to work. You just need to handle the money behind that brat. That brat hasn't even finished junior high. Can she manage money? She makes 300 yuan a day, and you just have to hand over 200 yuan to your dad and me, and save the remaining 100 yuan for yourself to spend however you want. Upon hearing this, Lu Xiangxiang's eyes lit up, and she nodded in immediate agreement. Okay, Mom, I will listen to you. That's 300 yuan. My God. She had never seen that much money before. With money, she could buy not only clothes but also perfume, snowflake cream. She wants to completely surpass that country bumpkin Ni Yang. Since they did not know Ni Hui's exact location, it took the family of 3 all the morning to find Jinghua village. Bang, bang, bang. Ni Yang was washing vegetables in the courtyard when she heard the knocking on the door. Ni Tsuehua ran to answer it. As soon as she opened the door, Ni Tsuehua was stunned. Standing at the door were Ni Dezhu and his family. Chapter 126 Abuse to the point where there is nothing left. _2. Tsuehua. Auntie. Lu Wan and Lu Xiangxiang greeted with smiles all over their faces. Lu Wan looked at Ni Tsuehua, jealousy oozing from the depth of her eyes. Where was the pitiful figure Ni Tsuehua posed 3 months ago? She was dressed in the latest batwing blouse from the mall, flared trousers made of good quality fabric, and the most fashionable leather high-heeled shoes. Just her outfit alone would cost at least 100 yuan. That's her 3-month salary. How could a country bumpkin dress like this? Isn't that just wasting money? Lu Wan was extremely upset. If Lu Wan were to see Ni Hui's golden bracelet, she would probably die of jealousy on the spot. You looked at Ni Tsuehua and reprimanded unhappily, standing at the door like a post. Can't you see your brother is here? Could it be that Ni Tsuehua was so overjoyed that her brother showed up and became foolish? Ni Tsuehua glanced at Ni Dezhu and his family. Her face didn't show any excitement Dezhu had expected. She knew Ni Dezhu was here only because now he had seen that her daughter was capable and could make money. Since the day Ni Dezhu chased Ni Tsuehua from the family courtyard, she had been clearly aware of their vile faces. This time, she won't let them drag Ni Yang down. Ni Tsuehua coldly responded, "I'm just an unwanted orphan. Where did brother come from? Comrades, you've got the wrong person, haven't you?" With that, Ni Tsuehua slammed the door shut, leaving behind Ni Dezhu and his family dumbfounded. What just happened? How did Ni Tsuehua suddenly become so defiant? Especially Ni Dezhu, whose face was twisted in anger. This is outrageous. Now, Ni Tsuehua even dares to treat her own brother like this. After taking the first assertive action and shutting the door, Ni Tsuehua took a deep breath. She was a little nervous. At this moment, Ni Dezhu and Lu Wan's angry voices and complaints came from outside the door. Look at such people. Now that she's well off, she doesn't recognize us poor relatives. Open the door. Ni Tsuehua, open the door for me. How can there be such a heartless person in the world? Hearing the noise, Ni Yang quickly dropped his vegetables and went to Ni Hui's side. Mom, what happened? Ni Changui, who was resting inside, came out too. Ni Tsuehua simply explained the situation. Ni Changgu angrily said, "How can there be such shameless people in the world? They'll show them." With that, Ni Changui picked up the giant broom leaning beside and walked to the courtyard door. Ni Changui flung the door open and swung the broom around, yelling, "How dare you bullies come on my face in broad daylight? Do you think it's easy to bully a widow like me? Don't be fooled by Ni Changui's courteous appearance. When she gets mad, even 10 of you wouldn't stand a chance against her." Ni Dezhu and Lu Wan didn't have time to dodge and were hit by the broom several times. This broom, which has swept not only the ground but also the orchard, didn't smell good. The noise was loud and drew a crowd of villagers. Lu Wan was scared. She quickly tried to defuse the situation. "Sister, you're mistaken. We're here to see Ni Tsuehua. This is my husband, Ni Dezhu. He's Ni Hui's brother." "Bah, you have no shame." Ni Changui spat on the ground and stood with hands on hips. "Everyone in Jinghua village knows Tsuehua is an orphan. When did she get a brother? Don't think that just because Tsuehua just moved here, you can bully her because she's an orphan. If you want to bully Hui's family, you 3 bastards have to step over my body first." Lu Wan, who prided herself on being more cultured, couldn't out-argue Ni Changui. She could only loudly say, "Sister, let's be reasonable. My husband really is Ni Qihua's brother. And Tsuehua is such an ungrateful person. She enjoys succulent food at home and ignores her brother from birth family. Even a poor relative is a relative. At these words, murmurs started amongst the villagers. If that's the case, then Tsuehua was really heartless. Like the saying goes, don't forget your roots when you prosper. Every family has a few poor relatives, but how could she not recognize them? She couldn't let these people continue this misunderstanding. And Tsuehua braced herself and stepped forward. He's not my brother. I've been an unwanted orphan since childhood. He's merely a person who grew up in the same village. Now they see Yang Yang is doing well. They're eager to attach themselves and pretend to be relatives. It's hard to even drive them away. Chapter 127, Abused to the point where there is nothing left. 3. Why does it sound so familiar? And Yang raised her eyebrows slightly, then recalled, these were the words from 3 months ago, when they went to Daz's house. Luan used them to humiliate them. It seems that mother has really grown up. Luan also sensed that something was wrong, because after all, these words came out of her mouth. Before Yang could react, she was pulled by Tsuehua by the wrist, and she loudly shouted, people say that a nephew resembles his uncle. Can all of you here tell me, how does our Yang Yang look like this in Idaju? Indeed, she does not look like him at all. Yang Yang and her mother are so good-looking. This Idaju doesn't even come close to half of their beauty. And their daughter, even if she's dressed in dragon robes, she's not fit to be a prince. Such a disgrace. Luan was almost infuriated to death, her eyes reddening. She said, don't forget your conscience. If you are not the sister of Daju, how can you have the surname Not only do you have this surname, you even gave your daughter the same surname as our Daju. Now you even can't acknowledge your own brother. How are you qualified to let your daughter bear the same surname as our Daju? And Chungue burst into laughter and shouted, my mother also has the surname Does that mean my mother is also your relative? The majority of people in our Jinghua village are surnamed Does that mean all of us surnamed took the surname of your man? I have seen shameless people, but I have never seen people as shameless as you. Right, is it possible that all people in the world surnamed follow him to be surnamed Shameless, so shameless indeed. Listening to the surrounding ridiculing, and Daju was so angry that his whole body was trembling. How dare you, Tsuehua? You just started to prosper, and you have already started turning your back on us. Do you even respect your big brother anymore? And Tsuehua, it looks like you're asking for it. And Daju walked directly to Qihua's side, rolled up his sleeves, and was about to hit her. After all, Tsuehua was a woman. How could she stand a chance against the strong and sturdy Daju? Someone is hitting others. Someone is hitting others. And signaled Tsuehua with his eyes, then suddenly sat on the ground and began shouting, a rogue has come to our Jinghua village to hit people. And Tsuehua quickly caught on and followed suit by sitting on the ground, starting to make a fuss. Help! Someone's killing me. The two of them played off each other, totally dumbfounding Daju. He hasn't started attacking yet. And these two women are already sitting on the ground? What's the meaning of this? Are they playing dirty? They're actually playing dirty. Have they no shame? Do they really think I wouldn't dare to do something? Quickly. Let's go quickly. There's a bad guy bullying sister in Yang. Gooden and Guobao led a group of small companions running this way. Sister Yang, don't be afraid. We're here to protect you. Charge. Defeat the little devils. And Daju was about to make a move, just when a bunch of little bastards swarmed into the yard, armed with weapons in their hands, and started hitting Daz's family indiscriminately. Those with rocks were throwing rocks. Those with sticks were holding sticks. Some even simply went straight to bite them. Things happened so quickly. The scene was chaotic for a moment. Even if Daz's family has the strength, they can't tackle so many of these little bastards. Daju was beaten up with a bruised nose and swollen face. His eyes could not even be opened. Luan was also beaten up and in a complete mess. Even Lu Xiangxiang was heavily beaten, and her carefully braided long hair was filled with cockleburr. Kill you. Kill you bad guys. Let you bully sister and I Yang. Yang Wabao and Gooden directly climbed onto an Daju. Kill the little devils. A bunch of adults stood aside. None of them seemed to want to stop them. Gooden's grandmother even stood on the side and cheered Gooden on. And Yang has been in Jinghua village for so long and has helped many of us. A month ago, she got hives and couldn't sleep at night due to the itching. And Yang cured it with a prescription of herbal medicine and did not even charge a penny. And Tsuahua is also a very honest and down-to-earth person. Both of them are good people. They can't be bullied by a group of shameless people. Looking at the scene before her, and Yang's nose suddenly turned sour, and she almost cried. Mu Jin Bao, old lady Mu, and Daz's family showed her the ugliest side of human nature, while the villagers and children of Jinghua village showed her the kindest side of human nature. Just like this world, there is night, and there is also day. Seeing the situation turn against him, and Daju quickly took his wife and child and fled in disgrace. Chapter 128, abused to the point where not even dregs are left. _4. But these little rascals had no intention of letting them go easily, continuing to chase after them with rocks in their hands. Yang Bao, like a little military strategist, walked up to Gooden. Gooden, it's not wise to chase a desperate enemy. One Gooden, holding the last stone in his hand, aimed at Daz's head and threw it while yelling, "Bastard! If you dare to bully sister and Yang again, they'll make your head bloom." And Daz's head instantly swelled up with a lump. It was thanks to everyone today that Daju and his gang had to sneak away with their tails between their legs. And Yang, not an ungrateful person, immediately pulled Tsuehua to express her gratitude. "No need to thank us. You and your daughter are now part of Jinghua village. We actually didn't do much. It was mainly thanks to the children." Upon hearing this, Gooden, Guobao, and the other children felt shy. Protecting sister and Yang is our responsibility. We are all sister and Yang's little protectors. Right, we are all little protectors. Slowly, people dispersed, and the children ran off. And Yang watched everyone's retreating figures, her eyes full of determination. She is the kind to return even a small favor with great kindness. She would definitely find a way to repay everyone for today's events. One shouldn't be ungrateful in life. And Yang turned to Changgue. And thank you for today. There's no need for thanks. And Changgue continued, Yang, and scared you just now, didn't she? Thinking of her own shrewish behavior earlier, and Changgue felt somewhat embarrassed. And Changgue used to be truly gentle, in fact. Ever since her husband's car accident, she had changed. As the saying goes, a widow's doorstep is much trodden. Without a gritty personality, she couldn't have protected herself. No, and you were very brave. Today's Changgue really impressed Yang. Because sometimes, to deal with evil people, you should be like Changgue, fight evil with evil. Mom, you were great today, too. And Yang turned and looked at Tsuehua. And Tsuehua shyly replied, Really? Yang? Emma Machem. And Yang nodded. And Tsuehua continued, Don't worry, Yang. We'll keep being strong, so you don't have to worry. The three members of the Daju family who came to Jinghua village not only didn't benefit, but ended up feeling bitter for having been beaten. Unfortunately, they had no leg to stand on. Although Daju is Quihua's brother, they do not have a blood relationship, and Quihua's household registration has also been transferred out. Their relationship was not legally recognized at all. Moreover, they brought this beating upon themselves. Both Daju and Luong were fine with just some minor scrapes. Applying some medicine and resting for a few days would do the trick. But Lu Xiangxiang was a different story. Her long hair was full of burdock and couldn't be removed no matter how hard she tried. Lacking any alternatives, they could only cut her hair short. Lu Xiangxiang had spent 4 whole years growing her beautiful long hair. Losing it in this way would definitely look awful. The crying Lu Xiangxiang was on the verge of fainting as she pounded and slapped an Aiju and Lu Wan. I don't want to cut my hair. When I want to cut my hair, it's all your fault. If you hadn't gone to find that country bumpkin, would I be in this state? Lu Wan, heartbroken, soothed her. Xiang, don't cry. Mom will buy you a beautiful hat. As long as your nourishment is in order, your hair will grow back soon. I don't want, you interjected. Xiang, don't worry. Dad will definitely avenge you. You dare to speak. Lu Wan slapped and eyed Daz's face, angrily berating him. You're the most useless. You couldn't even beat a few kids. If it weren't for you, would Xiang be like this? Why do I have to suffer such misfortune? To be with you, such a jinx, and Aiju, adding insult to his injuries, took a long while to respond. Wan, listen to me. I really have a way to take down that bitch and Yang this time, and make her beg us. Lu Wan frowned slightly. Go on. And Aiju then whispered a few words into Lu Wan's ear. Lu Wan nodded, finally smiling again. All right, I'll go find Sister Chunxiang tomorrow. The next day, Lu Wan went to the morning market early. Chapter 129, Tortured to the point where not even dregs remain. _5. To avoid the sight of an Yang, which gave her an uncomfortable lump in her chest, Lu Wan purposely took a detour to Sun Chunxiang's place. She took out 30 cents. Sister Chunxiang, they'll have a bowl of noodles, please. While picking up the coins from the table, Sun Chunxiang feigned reluctance. Xiaolu, we are like real sisters. How can one possibly take money from you? As her words fell, she suddenly looked surprised. Xiaolu, what happened to your face? Did you have a fight with your husband, did you? Lu Wan managed to squeeze a small smile. It's nothing, just hit my face on the door. Oh, Sun Chunxiang nodded knowingly, her expression filled with implications. Hee. Was Lu Wan trying to fool a fool? Could hitting her face make it look like that? She must have certainly behaved outrageously, and that's why an Aiju punched her. Sun Chunxiang went to make a bowl of noodles for Lu Wan. While eating, Lu Wan asked, Sister Chunxiang, which organization did you rent this stall from? Sun Chunxiang chuckled. Why? Xiaolu, are you thinking of starting a business? Lu Wan responded, I don't have the talent for business. I am just asking for my sister-in-law whose younger sibling doesn't have a job, and she wants to give a try. Oh, Sun Chunxiang nodded and told Lu Wan the place where she rented her stall. Immediately after finishing her noodles, Lu Wan rushed to the lease office. When she met the person in charge, she said, Hello, I would like to rent a stall for my business. The woman in charge, a middle-aged lady, replied, I'm sorry, comrade. All our stalls have already been rented out. We have no vacancies. No vacancies left. This is great. Lu Wan then took out a stack of money and eagerly said, One would like to rent the one, and Yang has it 3 times the price. She was going to make it impossible for Yang to run her business. Yang would come begging to her. 10 times the price. The woman pondered for a moment and checked the lease contract. She saw Yang's contract was about to expire in 2 days, so she said, That stall is currently 25 yuan per month. If you're willing to pay triple the price, it will be 75 yuan per month. And we require a deposit equal to 3 months' rent. So, you need to pay an advance of 300 yuan. What's 300 yuan? Yang could earn that in 1 day. Once they rented that stall, Yang would have to pay not just 300 yuan, but even 3,000 yuan if needed. Upon hearing that, Lu Wan was overjoyed. So, you mean you would rent it out to me? The woman continued. One can rent it out, but only from the beginning of next month. This month's contract hadn't expired yet. Lu Wan laughed and said, That's fine. Let's sign the contract now. Let Yang enjoy herself for only 2 more days, as it was almost next month anyway. Lu Wan handed over all her savings, 300 yuan, to cover the fee for renting the stall. On the way home, Lu Wan felt like she was walking on air. She could already picture all the money waving at her. The instant she arrived home, her husband anxiously asked, How did it go? Did you get done? Done. It's done. Lu Wan nodded eagerly. Lu Xiangxiang walked over and asked, Mom, Dad, can you avenge me now? Yes. Lu Xiangxiang went on. Then I will cut Ai Yang's hair off completely. I want her to kneel and apologize to me. Every time she thought of her beautiful long hair, Lu Xiangxiang wished she could bite Ai Yang to death. Lu Wan laughed. Just wait. In 2 days, Ai Yang will be begging us. Then we will show her how it feels. The money had been paid, the contract had been signed, and now the stall was theirs. If Ai Yang wanted to do business, she had to beg them. Lu Xiangxiang asked next, "Can I still go there to collect money?" "Yes, of course," Lu Wan boasted. "All the money that wicked girl makes will be yours." While Ai Daz's family was dreaming of getting rich, Ai Yang went to the tram station after closing her stall for the day. At the station, Ai Suihua was already there with her child, waiting expectantly. Yang, over here." Ai Yang parked her bicycle beside. Mom, get on. I'm taking you to see our shop." "Okay." Ai Suihua got on, holding her child, with a smile that never left her face. This was probably the most joyful day Ai Suihua had had in a long time. Chapter 130 Abused to the point where not even dregs are left. _6. Unlike her first time in the streets, Ai Kuihua's mental state had undergone significant changes. Her transformation involved not just her clothes, but also her manners and deportitude. If not told otherwise, no one would have guessed that just over 3 months ago, she was an illiterate rural woman. The location where Ai Yang bought her shop was excellent. Located in a bustling urban area, surrounded by schools, libraries, and a community. For a moment, Ai Yang seemed to glimpse through the present and into the future's prosperity. Although her current shop only cost her 25,100 yuan, in 2 to 3 years, its price would definitely shoot up by 10, 100, 1,000, or even 10,000 times more. Therefore, she had to take advantage of the present, when housing prices have yet to rise, and buy several more properties to keep. If one day she doesn't want to do business anymore, she can just sit at home and collect rent. By then, she'd probably tire out from collecting all the rent. Ai Yang took out the key and opened the door to the shop. Inside the shop was bare, without any decorations. It was over 50 square meters, excluding the kitchen and bathroom. Ai Yang roughly calculated and noted that if she put normal 2-person tables inside, she could fit at least 20. Ai Suihua, holding her child, stood in the middle of the shop and incredulously said, Yang, is this shop really ours now?" The echo of her voice bounced around the empty shop. Ai Yang nodded. "Of course it's ours. Look, this is the property deed." Ai Suihua took the deed, her excited eyes reddening. She was not dreaming. She really wasn't dreaming. "Don't cry, Mom." Ai Yang reached out to wipe the tear stains on Ai Kuihua's face. "Our good days are just beginning." Ai Yang's career was also just starting. The bright future was still ahead. Ai Suihua nodded. To celebrate the purchase of the shop, Ai Yang took Ai Suihua to the vegetable market to buy more ingredients for a delicious dinner. The Mediterranean vendor who sold beef and lamb already recognized Ai Yang. "Xiaoni, what would you like today?" Ai Yang smiled and said, "The usual." "All right then." The Mediterranean vendor quickly weighed the meat, then asked, "Xiaoni, is this woman your mother?" "Yes." Ai Yang nodded. The Mediterranean vendor was inwardly amazed. No wonder Ai Yang was so beautiful. Her mother wasn't an ordinary person. From her clothes and demeanor, she was definitely from a well-educated background. As it was now autumn, Ai Yang decided to take Ai Suihua to mall after leaving the vegetable market, planning to buy some clothes for autumn and winter. Unlike their first trip, because both mother and daughter were now impeccably dressed, the salespeople were much more enthusiastic and flocked around them. Again, this made Ai Suihua realize the importance of money and status. Yang, hold your sister for a moment. I need to use the restroom." Ai Suihua handed the child to Ai Yang. Ai Yang smiled and said, "Mom, let me accompany you." Ai Suihua declined. "No need, I'm not a child. I can go on my own." She was no longer the timid, illiterate, and weak Ai Suihua from before. Knowing that her mother's transformation over this period of time was quite apparent, Ai Yang wasn't worried. "Then go ahead. I'll wait for you here. Cough, cough, cough. Just as she came out of the restroom, and Tsuehua, heard a severe coughing sound. And Tsuehua looked to the side and saw an elderly woman crouched by a trash can, coughing painfully. The old woman was coughing so hard her eyes turned red, her face pale, looking like she could faint at any moment. "Madam, are you all right?" And Tsuehua, who had never experienced maternal love as a child, couldn't bear to see the elderly woman alone and in distress, so she asked. Between coughs, the old woman said, I'm fine." She didn't know what was wrong. Despite taking medication, her coughing had only worsened recently. And Tsuehua helped the old woman up. "Let me help you sit over there for a bit." "Thank you, young lady." As the elderly woman turned to look at Tsuehua, her pupils constricted, her grip on Kuihua's hand unconsciously tightened significantly. Was she seeing things? "Child," suppressing her cough, the old woman asked with a trembling voice, "Where are you from?" And Tsuehua smiled and said, "My family is from Yanjing City." Yanjing and Guangguan are thousands of kilometers apart. Chapter 131, abused to the point where not even dregs are left. _J, she was mistaken. She made another mistake. A hint of disappointment gleamed in the old lattice eyes. She asked, "Are there any people left in your mother's family?" And Tsuehua responded, "My parents died early. I don't have much family left now." And Tsuehua didn't even know this old lady. She couldn't possibly reveal her entire background to her. Besides, her foster parents had died early, so this statement was not wrong. "What a pitiful child," the old lady gently patted Kuihua's hand. Just then, a mother and a daughter raced over from the distance. "Mom, Grandma." It wasn't any other people. It was truly Zheng Lingling and Zheng Xianjing, mother and daughter. Seeing that the old lattice family had arrived, and Tsuehua quietly excused herself. And Yang was waiting for her elsewhere. Lingling, Xianjing. Old Lady Zheng smiled at Lingling and Xianjing. The mother and daughter immediately grasped Old Lady Zheng's arms. Old Lady Zheng chuckled. "Lingling, let me tell you, I just saw a young person who looks so much like Tingting." Damn old lady. Even at this late hour, she still remembered that Zheng Tingting. A flash of resentment crossed Zheng Lingling's gaze, but on her face she smiled. "Really? Mom, where's that person who looks like sister? Let me see if it is Tingting." Old Lady Zheng turned back and looked around to see, puzzled. Wasn't she still here just now? How did she disappear in a blink of an eye? Zheng Lingling gave Xianjing a signal with her eyes. Zheng Xianjing immediately said, "Grandma, let me help you look for her." Old Lady Zheng laughed. "No need to. She's probably not my Tingting." So many years had passed. After experiencing countless dashes of hope followed by despair, Old Lady Zheng had grown numb. Seeing Old Lady Zheng's emotion, Zheng Lingling immediately switched the topic. "Mom, is your cough getting any better? Should we head back home early?" After roaming around in the mall and stirring up painful memories for Old Lady Zheng, she didn't want to continue shopping any longer. She nodded. "Let's go home." Zheng Lingling and Xianjing exchanged a look, then helped Old Lady Zheng walk towards the exit. And Yang was standing there, holding her younger sister. Little Yun giggled heartily in her arms. The unrestrained laughter of the child, pure and innocent, attracted the attention of others in the mall. As Mo Baichuan turned around, he saw Yang. Why was she everywhere he looked? Mo Baichuan frowned slightly. Without a second thought, he knew this must be intentional on her part. Did she really think that owning a stunning face was enough to win his affections? How ridiculous! Seeing Mo Baichuan's distraction, the man in the suit next to him couldn't help but remind him, Mr. Mo. Only then did Mo Baichuan come back to his senses. He gave a light cough to mask his embarrassment. "Where were we at in our conversation? Let's continue." The man in the suit continued his chatter. They continued talking and walking. Mo Baichuan tried his best to move towards Yang, because he was eager for Yang to approach him. Wasn't Yang's purpose of this trip to initiate a conversation with him? But In Yang completely ignored him as if he was invisible and continued to play with her little sister in her arms. What was going on? Could it be that she didn't notice him? Mo Baichuan unconsciously raised the volume of his voice. Finally, Yang turned her gaze towards him. Those eyes, like the stars in the sky, and a faint smile on her lips. She indeed had a face that could entrance one's heart. Mo Baichuan's heart started throbbing uncontrollably for several beats. And not only did Yang cast a glance towards him this time, but she also walked towards him with the child in her arms. He knew it must be that Yang was coming for him. So calculating. As Yang's distance from him grew shorter, Mo Baichuan's heartbeat began to quicken. He's been mentally preparing himself to reject Yang and extinguish her hopes once and for all. But then, the very next second, just as Mo Baichuan was about to reject her, Yang's gaze skipped right over him and she headed past him. Yang left. Yang actually completely ignored him and walked away. Although Mo Baichuan was unwilling to believe the scene before his eyes, Yang truly did not spare him an extra look, didn't even bestow a glance from the corner of her eye. "Mom, let's check that area out. I see some clothes over there that would suit you nicely." Yang walked up to Tsuewa, holding her little sister. Tsuewa smiled and nodded. Okay. The mother and daughter, chatting gaily, detoured towards the other side. Mo Baichuan was so angry he almost exploded. Why didn't Yang approach him? Could it be she did not come for him after all? What exactly was going on here? In fact, Yang didn't see Mo Baichuan at all, because she never wasted her time on insignificant individuals. The man in the suit looked in the direction that Mo Baichuan had been staring at. "Mr. Mo, do you know them?" "I don't know them." Mo Baichuan grumbled 3 words, feeling as uncomfortable as if he had swallowed a fly. His mind was filled with questions about why Yang didn't approach him. Was it a new tactic or something? Yang led Tsuewa to the other side of the scene, finally bought the clothes and shoes they desired. It was a fruitful journey. It was already past 4 in the afternoon when they got home. As soon as Yang sat down on the chair, she saw Yang Guobao, his cousins, and Gooden had arrived. Guobao Gooden, Xiaoqin, Yuan. Yang immediately began distributing the snacks she bought from the street market. There were the big white rabbit milk candies and bear cookies. Yang had never been stingy when it came to these children. "Thank you, Sister Yang." The 4 of them thanked politely. Yang smiled. "There's no need to act so ceremonious with your sister." Guobao munching joyfully. "By the way, Sister Yang, I have something I want to tell you." Yang nodded. "Go on." Gobao's spirits suddenly dropped. "Sister Yang, my mom wants to bring me home tomorrow." Chapter 132 Winning Hearts. Guobao returns home _1 yes. Yang Guobao is going home. After 3 months of treatment and recuperation, he is completely cured. Yang gently touched Yang Guobao's head with a smile. 3 months have passed. It's time to go home and see your grandparents and father. Yang Guobao hugged Yang, choking up. Who? Sister Yang, I'm gonna miss you. Silly Guobao. Yang laughed. We will see each other again. We will have many chances to meet in the future. Gooden scorned. Guobao, are you a man or not? Like us men of the Go generation, we don't cry. Guobao, the Go generation? When did Yang Guobao become Guobao of the Go generation? I wonder if these kids will acknowledge these nicknames when they grow up. Yang couldn't help but laugh. Yang Guobao immediately straightened up, wiping the tears from his face. Yes, we men of the Go generation don't cry. Yang nodded. Yes, that's more like a little man. Gooden immediately objected. Sister Yang is wrong. We are clearly grown men. Yang Guobao, still with tears on his face, echoed, We are grown men. They're all grown men who can protect Sister Yang. After comforting him for a while, Yang Guobao finally began to smile. Yang, remembering the food she had bought today, continued, You 4 go and call over all the other kids. Tonight, we'll have dinner at Sister Yang's place as a farewell meal for Guobao. Yeah. Gooden jumped up excitedly. Then let's go call everyone else now. And Yang nodded. Go ahead. Yang Gabao, Gooden, Wang Xiaoqin, and Wang Yuanji ran off in a flash. Upon hearing that guests were coming for dinner, Suhua immediately came over to ask Yang what they would be eating tonight, so she could start washing the vegetables. Yang thought for a moment, and then said, Tonight we're having hot pot. Mom, wash some more meat and a bit extra fish and shrimp. I'm going to visit Aunt Joe's place. They'll start cooking when I come back. All right. Suhua nodded. You better go quickly. After taking some money from her room, Yang started walking towards Zhou Qingshang's residence. Along the way, villagers kept greeting Yang. Liking and disliking are mutual feelings. Wang Jinfeng, a woman who begrudges others their success, greeted Yang with a smiling face. But as soon as Yang turned her back, Wang started spewing sarcasm. This little girl doesn't learn good habits at such a young age and does all kinds of shameless things. Dressed so extravagantly, I wonder who she's going to seduce now. Mom! Pang Hu rushed in from another direction, looked at Wang Jinfeng angrily. You're not allowed to talk about sister Yang like that. Wang Jinfeng looked down at Pang Hu and said menacingly, You little brat, know your place. Mind your own business. Pang Hu sat on the ground, crying and making a fuss. Sister Yang is not like that. Sister Yang isn't. Pang Hu is the only male heir in 3 generations of the Ni family. Wang Jinfeng gave birth to 3 daughters before she finally had this precious son. Seeing Pang Hu sitting on the ground and crying, she was heartbroken. Oh, my precious baby. Get up, no more crying. I won't get up. Pang Hu sobbed. Sister Yang is not like that. What Wang Jinfeng saw made her grimace, but seeing her son like this, she just indulged him. Sure. Your sister Yang is not like that. Mom was just joking. Pang's crying gradually subsided. He looked at Wang Jinfeng and said, Mom, promise me that you will never badmouth sister Yang again. Wang Jinfeng continued, Mom promises not to speak ill of your sister Yang again. Although she said that, Wang Jinfeng was still dubious about Yang. A young girl, who was dressed in rags when she first moved to Jinghua village, is now all of a sudden dressed so well. Very suspicious indeed. Wang Jinfeng absolutely did not believe that Yang wasn't engaged in some sort of shady business. Otherwise, where did all the money come from so quickly? Mom, swear, Pang Hu sobbed. If you talk bad about sister Yang again, when I have a son, he won't have a butthole. People in this era are superstitious. Wang Jinfeng was scared silly when she heard this, immediately saying, Spit. There's no harm in a child's words. Nobody curses themselves like that. Chapter 133 Winning Hearts. Guobao returns home _2. Pang Hu said earnestly, Words from the mouth of babes must not be taken lightly. Mom, hurry up and swear, otherwise my future offspring will come into the world without an anus. Though Pang Hu was only 8 years old, he was shrewd. He knew that Wang Jinfeng had a soft spot for him. If he was to stake his future children on this bet, surely she wouldn't ever sling mud at Yang again. Wang Jinfeng was almost done in by her son's buffoonery. Being the clever woman she was, how could she have ended up with such a simple-minded son? With no other options, Wang Jinfeng begrudgingly made the oath. Only then did Pang Hu break out into an elated smile. Mom, the teacher says those who can acknowledge and correct their wrongs are good children. Wang Jinfeng. Just then, Gooden and Yang Gabao led a group of children running over calling, Pang Hu, Pang Hu. Pang Hu instantly waved his hands and ran over, Coming. After a quick huddle, Pang Hu yelled out to Wang Jinfeng, Mom, I won't be home for dinner tonight. Wang Jinfeng called out, If you're not coming home, where will you eat? Pang Hu replied, Sister Yang is treating us tonight. Sister Yang treating them? Was Yang treating these children to a dirt buffet? Although that's what Wang Jinfeng thought, she didn't voice it. She just replied, Be sure to come home early. Got it. By the time Wang Jinfeng looked up again, Pang Hu and the others had already disappeared in the distance. Hoisting the hoe onto her shoulder, Wang Jinfeng headed home. and Ai Yang arrived at Zhou Qingshang's house. Madame Wang. And Ai Yang knocked on the door and raised her voice. Is anyone home? Recognizing the voice, Zhou Qingshang immediately ran out from the kitchen. It's Yang Yang. Come in and have a seat. Ever since Ai Yang cured Zhou Qingshang's cough and cold with a stick of buplurum, Zhou Qingshang had taken a liking to the beautiful young girl. If it were anyone else, even if she were coughing her lungs out, they probably wouldn't bother. But Ai Yang, even though they were strangers at the time, was incredibly helpful. Madame Wang, is Uncle Tinio home? Asked Ai Yang. Zhou Qingshang's husband, Wang Tinio, lived up to his name, being as sturdy as an ox. He learned to be a bricklayer in his younger years. He knew how to renovate and build houses. If there was work to be done, he'd be out there building houses for people. If not, he'd be at home working the farm. Because of his hard work, their family lived a decent life. Ai Yang's main purpose for this visit was to offer the job of renovating the store to Wang Tinio. Originally, Ai Yang could have handed the task over to a construction team in town, but she wanted to take this opportunity to show her gratitude to the villagers. Zhou Qingshang replied, Your Uncle Tinio is outside. They'll call him for you. Ai Yang nodded. Thank you, Madame Zhou. Zhou Qingshang laughed. Oh, it's no trouble at all. Yang Yang, come in and take a seat. We'll be right back. Even though she didn't know why Ai Yang wanted to see Wang Tinio, Zhou Qingshang still went out enthusiastically to call him. Before long, Zhou Qingshang returned with Wang Tinio. Despite his rough appearance, Wang Tinio was a very kind-hearted man. Yang Yang, why are you standing there for? Come in. Uncle Tinio. Ai Yang followed Wang Tinio indoors. Wifey, hurry up and make some tea, Wang Tinio then instructed. Ai Yang laughed. Uncle Tinio, you don't need to fuss over me. One will leave in a moment. Before Ai Yang finished speaking, Zhou Qingshang had already prepared the tea. Thank you, Madame Wang, Ai Yang said, as she politely took the teacup with both hands. No need to be so polite with me. After taking a sip of tea, Ai Yang proceeded to discuss business with Wang Tinio. Uncle Tinio, my shop is about 50 square meters. Adding the kitchen and bathroom would make it about 65 square meters. Please bring 10 laborers from the village. Ai Yang did the math and concluded that excluding the elderly and children, there were roughly 10 laborers in Jinghua village. Besides the heavy work, the job at the construction site didn't require much skill. It just needed some good old-fashioned hard labor. Wang Tinio listened, bewildered, and struggled to believe what he heard. Yang Yang, are you pulling my leg? You genuinely have a shop and you want me to renovate it? After all, Ai Yang was just a teenage girl. It was only natural for Wang Tinio to be skeptical. Anticipating Wang Tinio's disbelief, Ai Yang took out the bundle of cash she had prepared earlier. Uncle Tinio, they'll pay you in advance. It's 3 yuan per day for skilled workers and 2 yuan per day for laborers. Chapter 133 Chapter 133 Winning Hearts. Guobao returns home _3. 3 yuan for skilled labor? 2 yuan for unskilled labor? Wang Tinio's eyes widened in surprise. The average worker's salary was only 40 yuan a month at this point in time. Normally, when he built houses for others, he only charged 1 yuan per day for skilled labor and 85 cents for unskilled labor. At Ai Yang's, it was several times more. Of course, Wang Tinio was not the type to take advantage of others. Moreover, as Ai Yang was just a young girl, he certainly couldn't take advantage of her. Yang Yang, you don't need to pay this much. Just give the market rate. 1 yuan for skilled labor and 85 cents for unskilled labor, he said. Ai Yang smiled and said, No changes needed, but Uncle Tinio, I have a request. Go on. Ai Yang continued. I hope all the renovation work can be done within a month. Wang Tinio assured, Don't worry about it, there are so many of us. In fact, we can even get it done in half a month. It was only a 50 square meter shop, and there were 12 workers in total. As the saying goes, many hands make light work. Wang Taiju was not boasting, so Ai Yang's request wasn't really a burden. There's no need to rush, Ai Yang continued, as long as it's completed within a month. I plan to open for business on the 2nd of next month. Wang Tiniu nodded. All right, don't worry. And I Yang added, Uncle Tiniu, do you know who in our village is the best at cooking? As a manly man, Wang Tiniu had no idea. Zhou Qingshang laughed and said, I know. Aunt Wang Jinfeng makes amazing meals. Despite her differences with Aunt Jinfeng, Zhou Qingshang spoke the truth. Aunt Jinfeng indeed was a great cook. And I Yang nodded and then said, let's get Aunt Jinfeng too. Have her cook lunch at the construction site, and she will get the wages of an unskilled worker. Wang Tiniu felt a bit uncomfortable. Yang, your wages are already high enough. There's no need to provide lunch. And I Yang laughed and said, Uncle Tiniu, you're all working hard and I can't let you go hungry. That's settled then. I'm putting my trust on you, Uncle Tiniu. Once you've made arrangements, meet me at the tram station in the city around noon tomorrow or the day after. I'll take you to the shop. Now we'll be going. Zhou Qingshang and Wang Taizhu hurried to see An Yang off. Having seen off An Yang, Wang Taizhu returned to his house, still in a daze. He asked Zhou Qingshang, Wife, pinch me. Am I dreaming? Zhou Qingshang laughed and said, Look at how delighted you are. You're not dreaming. Wang Tiniu sighed. Yang is the god of wealth in our village. Zhou Qingshang echoed. I knew early on that Yang would amount to something. Wang Tiniu counted the money An Yang left on the table. It totaled 930 yuan, 180 yuan for 2 skilled laborers, 600 yuan for 10 unskilled laborers, and 60 yuan for a cook. It must be said, An Yang had made some really sound and trusting arrangements. Since An Yang trusted him so much, he must live up to her trust. Wang Tiniu extracted his 90 yuan and handed it to Zhou Qingshang. You keep this. I'm off to find the others. Zhou Qingshang accepted the money, still somewhat dazed. In the past, Wang Tiniu had to labor for 3 months to earn just 90 yuan. Worst of all, finding consistent work for 3 consecutive months was not guaranteed. The most had ever brought back seemed to be just over 40 yuan. All of these changes stirred deep feelings of gratitude in Zhou Qingshang. With the money in hand, Wang Tiniu went door to door. After explaining the situation, the villagers were overjoyed and grinning ear to ear as they received the money. Given that it was the idle farming period, a sudden opportunity to work, especially with an immediate payment that was multitudes higher than the market rates, had them naturally elated. 60 yuan. A season of hard farming couldn't earn them that much. An Yang really was their village's lucky star. The last stop was Wang Jinfeng's house. When he arrived, Wang Jinfeng was feeding the chickens. Her husband and Fatsai, who couldn't do heavy work due to an early injury, was cooking in the kitchen. Seeing Wang Tiniu, Wang Jinfeng warmly asked, Brother Tiniu, what brings you here? Chapter 134 Winning Hearts. Guobao returns home _4. Despite Wang Jinfeng's usually picky and stingy demeanor, she remained quite warm when dealing with acquaintances. Besides, she and Wang Tiniu were relatives. Wang Tiniu explained the situation with a smile. Shocked, Wang Jinfeng asked, Brother Tiniu, are you joking or being serious? Don't tease me. As An Fatsai was in poor health, Wang Jinfeng was having a hard time making ends meet. So, the news of getting 60 yuan got her extremely excited. With that 60 yuan, their family could feast for the coming new year. However, she had spoken badly of An Yang behind her back. Would An Yang really ask her for help? She found it somewhat hard to believe. Wang Tiniu smiled and said, Would I lie? Do you think I've nothing better to do? Here is your wage. If you're free, join us in the city tomorrow at noon. Great. He'll be there. Wang Jinfeng graciously took the money and thanked Tiniu profusely. Wang Tiniu continued, You don't need to thank me. If anyone, thank Yang. Wang Jinfeng laughed, her eyes nearly disappearing from her joyous face. Right. I should thank Yang. Thank Yang. She had acted foolishly by misunderstanding An Yang. Lucky for her, An Yang was forgiving and didn't hold her past actions against her. Right now, apart from being grateful, Wang Jinfeng deeply appreciated An Yang. Thinking about the harsh words she had spoken about An Yang before, she really regretted it. Teach her to talk behind others' backs. Teach her to be mean to others. If anyone dared to badmouth N.I. Yang in the future, Wang Jinfeng swore she'd give them a slap. When N.I. Yang returned, N.I. Suehua had washed and prepared all the vegetables. The fish and shrimp meat were finely chopped too. The beef bones were stewing in the pot, and the air was filled with their tempting aroma. N.I. Yang rolled up her sleeves and began to prepare the hot pot base. Everyone in Jinghua village, from the elderly to toddlers as young as 3 years old, loved spicy food, so she didn't need to worry about making a mild hot pot for the children. However, she still prepared a non-spicy base, just in case any children couldn't handle the heat. The copper pot for the hot pot was layered, ideal for a double-flavor hot pot. After preparing the hot pot base, N.I. Yang started making fish balls and shrimp slides. Having done it successfully once before, she made quicker progress this time. Fish balls and shrimp slides were not only a treat for the taste buds, but they also had high nutritional value and low cost, so N.I. Yang made extra. The rest was the handling of beef and lamb. After prepping the hot pot ingredients, N.I. Yang cooked 3 side dishes that were good for skin health and beauty. Additionally, she also prepared a big jar of chilled sour plum soup. The combination of piping hot pot and ice sour plum soup was simply perfect. Once all the dishes were on the table, Gooden and Yang Guobao brought all the children to the table. There were 15 children of different ages, the oldest being 13 and the youngest around 5 or 6 years old. Seeing so many children, N.I. Yun laughed with joy. Little N.I. Yun was fair and chubby, which attracted the kids' attention, and they all gathered around to play with her. After a short while, N.I. Chang'e returned from work. At first, she was stunned to see the house filled with people, then laughed and said, N.I. Yang, are you throwing a party at home again? N.I. Yang replied, Guobao is leaving tomorrow. We're having a farewell party. Ani and I, go wash your hands, and we can start eating. N.I. Chang'e immediately went to wash her hands. The children were well-behaved and took their seats around the table. The spicy, red oil base. The fragrant, white soup base. The boiling base teased their taste buds with its inviting aroma, and without even starting to cook the food in it, everyone already started salivating. N.I. Chang'e walked in from the outside after washing her hands and said with a smile, Enjoy your meal, don't wait for me. N.I. Yang distributed small plates of oil-dipping sauce to each child and said, Make yourselves at home. Here, at Sister N.I. Yang's, you can eat as much as you like. Everyone immediately dug in. Soon after, the air was filled with delightful exclamations. This is delicious. Sister N.I. Yang is so talented. Ponghu took a bite of the shrimp slide, turned to N.I. Yang, and said unclearly, Sister N.I. Yang, you're awesome. Your cooking is way better than my mom's. It's even better than my mom's cooking. Chapter 135 Winning Hearts. Guobao returns home _5. The boiling hot red chili oil in the pot accentuated the satisfied faces of the children. Observing this was enough for N.I. Yang to feel satisfied, even if she herself didn't eat anything. N.I. Yang prepared many dishes that day, all of which were devoured completely. An hour later, the children all lied in their chairs, their bellies round and full, unwilling to move an inch. They had absolutely relished their meal. Even during the new year, they had never enjoyed a meal this much. N.I. Yang prepared some lotus leaf cold tea for everyone to share. Sometimes, when children eat too much, it easily leads to indigestion. Lotus leaf tea has the effect of clearing heat, removing dampness, dispersing blood stasis, and improving digestion. After dinner, it was past 6 in the evening, and it wasn't completely dark yet. After thanking N.I. Yang, children took advantage of the remaining daylight and headed home. As soon as Ponghu arrived home, Wang Jinfeng picked him up. Son, what delicious food did Sister N.I. Yang cook for you tonight? Ponghu was slightly taken aback. Since when was his mother so courteous to Sister N.I. Yang? Could it be that his threat in the afternoon had worked? After all, she didn't want her grandson to be born without an anus. Yes, that must be it. Ponghu laughed and said, Sister N.I. Yang made hot pot tonight. I ate so much meat. Mom, look how full my belly is. As he said this, he lifted his shirt to show his belly to Wang Jinfang. So they were having hot pot. No wonder it smelled so good. And Ai Yang must indeed be a talented cook. Otherwise, how could she manage a restaurant in the city? She used to judge others by herself, even thinking ill of an Ai Yang. Whenever Wang Jinfang thought about this, she was overwhelmed with regret. Seeing Wang Jinfang lost in thought, Pang Hu continued, Mom, look at my belly. One tell you, sister and Ai Yang's food is even tastier than yours. Wang Jinfang finally reacted, showering Pang's face with kisses. My son is wonderful. Pang Hu was dumbfounded at being praised. Had he done something praiseworthy? A moment later, Wang Jinfang put Pang Hu down and brought out eggs and pomegranates that had been stored at home for a long time. Pang Hu, tomorrow, you take these things to sister and Ai Yang. Make sure she accepts them, okay? Although Wang Jinfang can be a bit tricky, she reciprocates kindness with kindness. At this point, she already considered an Ai Yang as one of her own. Pang Hu incredulously asked, Mom, is this really for sister and Ai Yang? He knew his mother to be stingy. The eggs she had saved were supposed to be sold. She would usually not even spare one for her precious son to eat. Yet, now she planned to give this whole basket of eggs to an Ai Yang. Additionally, there were 2 large, red pomegranates. These pomegranates were given stealthily by his grandmother during the last visit. She had given only 3. Pang Hu had eaten 1, and the remaining 2 were hidden away by Wang Jinfang, to be eaten gradually. It was too incredible to be true. When had Wang Jinfang become so generous? Seeing Pang's reaction, Wang Jinfang asked with a smile, What? You don't want to give these to sister and Ai Yang? Pang Hu immediately shook his head. Not at all. I want to give them to sister and Ai Yang. Afraid Wang Jinfang would change her mind, he grabbed a basket and said, I'll take them to sister and Ai Yang right now. Wang Jinfang held Pang's hand. It's dark now and unsafe. Go in the daylight tomorrow. Don't worry, I will stand by my word and won't retract it. Mom, are you serious? Pang Hu asked suspiciously. Of course I am. Wang Jinfang nodded affirmatively. Still doubtful of Wang Jinfang, Pang Hu held out his little finger with a solemn oath. Then let's make a pinky promise. If you break your word, my son will be born without an anus. Wang Jinfang laughed and lightly swatted Pang's head. You little rascal, always threatening your mom with that line. Immediately, Pang Hu said earnestly, Mom, make a promise. Promise. Wang Jinfang extended her hand to make a pinky swear with him. In Ai Yang's place. And Ai Yang is busy preparing pickled fish noodles and dinner for Grandma Mo. As tomorrow marks the last day of her noodle stall, and Ai Yang is preparing over 800 servings of pickled vegetable noodles, 100 more than usual. She also prepared lots of small cards, which she had started preparing a couple of months ago. Since she has decided to move her noodle stall, she needs to lay out her plans in advance. Word of mouth is crucial amongst regular customers. Otherwise, she would have to start building clientele from scratch. Chapter 136 Winning Hearts. Guobao returns home _6. These cards, in addition to offering discounts, also have a new shop's address written on them. All 500 cards were handwritten by Ai Yang, whose handwriting is very beautiful, so it looks like printed text. Today, Ai Yang prepared red bean cakes, pickled vegetable noodles, and steamed shrimp dumplings for breakfast for Mrs. Mo. Since the old lady hasn't had pickled vegetables for a long time, Ai Yang thought of giving her a different taste. No need to mention the taste of the shrimp dumplings. Moreover, shrimp meat is rich in nutrients and can supply calcium. Red beans have the functions of moistening the intestines and relieving constipation, lowering blood pressure, reducing blood lipids, regulating blood sugar, detoxifying, preventing cancer, and preventing stones. It's a very good ingredient for the elderly. The combination of red beans and glutinous rice is irresistible. It tastes sticky, sweet, but not greasy, refreshing and easy to digest, making you want to take another bite after tasting the first. After finalizing the menu, Ai Yang began preparing the ingredients. The next day, Ai Yang set up her noodle stall on the snack street, as usual. When she told everyone that she would no longer be selling noodles the next morning, a look of disappointment appeared on everyone's faces. "Boss, why are you not selling these delicious noodles anymore? My son is a picky eater. Without these pickled vegetable noodles, he wouldn't eat. Boss, will you still sell in the future? Or just not coming tomorrow morning?" And Ai Yang smiled and said, "Rest assured, everyone, I'm not stopping sales, but I will reopen a month later. The new shop address is across from the Wuhua Library. You all are regular customers. They'll give each of you a card. There's a discount of 5 cents a bowl on the opening day. Plus, you get a cup of sour plum soup. A discount of 5 cents and a free sour plum soup? The discount is actually so huge." Upon hearing this news, the crowd exploded. "I want one." "Me too." And Ai Yang smiled and said, "Everyone, don't worry. We have 500 cards. Everyone present will get one." Upon hearing this, the crowd calmed down and began to line up in order. However, the customers who received cards later naturally ran out. Customers who didn't receive a card all sighed with regret. Then Ai Yang continued, "Don't worry if you didn't get a card. Anyone who eats noodles on the opening day can get a free cup of sour plum soup. A cup of sour plum soup also costs a cent." Upon hearing this, everyone's mood improved a lot. Although Ai Yang prepared more than 800 soup noodles today, they sold out before 11 o'clock, as usual. After all, she came early. The first bowl had been sold at 5:30. When Li Gongchang came, Ai Yang told him that she would not be selling here tomorrow. Upon hearing this, Li Gongchang was surprised. What about the old lattice meals? And what about him? He had now gotten used to days with pickled fish noodles. He felt anxious whenever he couldn't eat them. And Ai Yang continued, "I will prepare the old lattice meals every morning. Ask the renovation workers to bring them over, and then you could trouble to pick them up. It's not a hassle." Li Gongchang scratched his head. "Xiaoni, are you sure your new shop will not be open until the 2nd of next month? Can't it be earlier?" And Ai Yang shook her head. "It may not be possible. There need to be renovations, purchasing tables and chairs, etc." Li Gongchang sighed in disappointment. What should he do? And Ai Yang smiled and said, "If you like pickled fish noodles, I can cook a portion for you every morning and keep it in the thermos. When you pick up the elderly woman's meals, you can pick it up at the same time." Upon hearing this, Li Gongchang's eyes lit up. "Great, great. Xiaoni, you are really smart." With that, Li Gongchang took out a yuan note and handed it to Ai Yang. "Then he'll pay for a month's noodles in advance." And Ai Yang reached out her hand to receive it and gave Li Gongchang a yuan as change. After packing up her stall, Ai Yang first sent the tables and chairs to the shop, then rode her bicycle to the tram station. When Ai Yang arrived, Wang Tiniu, Wang Jinfang, and the other villagers of Jinghua village had also just arrived. Uncle Tiniu, Aunt Jinfang, and uncles hello. And Ai Yang greeted them politely. Everyone responded warmly. When Wang Jinfang saw Ai Yang, she felt a little embarrassed. She had assumed that Ai Yang would have at least said a few sarcastic remarks about her, since she had spoken many ill words about Ai Yang before. However, Ai Yang was courteous from beginning to end and didn't put on any airs. For a moment, Wang Jinfang's impression of Ai Yang improved even more. Chapter 137 Winning Hearts. Guobao returns home. 7 and Ai Yin took them to the shop, then went to the vegetable market to buy some vegetables for Wang Jinfang. The vegetables were from her own home, but the tofu and pork were bought from the market. Ai's people all did manual work. How could they not eat meat? Although there wasn't much meat, just a bit over 2 pounds, it was enough to satisfy everyone's craving. After all, at this time, they could only eat a few pieces of meat during the new year. Wang Jinfang's cooking skills were excellent, and in no time, the smell of fried meat filled the whole house. Smelling the fragrance of the meat and thinking about the wages given by Ai Yin, everyone was instantly filled with energy. After Wang Jinfang finished cooking, there was not much work in the afternoon. Although Ai Yin only asked her to cook, she didn't leave early. Instead, she helped everyone with tools and carried buckets of mud, doing some labor's work. After all, Ai Yin paid her 2 yuan a day. Plus, she ate meat at noon. She had to earn her money, and the meat she ate at noon. Wang Jinfeng couldn't be a person with no conscience. After leaving the shop, Yin did not go home, but rode her bike to the local bureau to apply for a business license. In addition to the business license, she also had to apply for a health permit and a food circulation permit. After all, she wanted to be a qualified individual operator. The efficiency of the bureau was very high, and Yin completed all the certificates by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. After the certificate, Yin went to the vegetable market again. Since she didn't need to set up a stall to sell noodles tomorrow, she didn't buy fish, but bought a little less than 200 pounds of greens. After all, once the shop opens, the daily sales volume will be higher than when she set up the stall, so she needs to prepare pickles. She can't run out of stock. The vegetable vendor recognized Yin and not only gave her a discount of 5 cents, but also gave her a pound of peas. Because it was not the right season, so peas were very scarce and expensive at this time. It can be seen that the vegetable vendor had a long-term vision. He knew that Yin was a potential customer. After buying vegetables, Yin happened to pass by Li Dongliang's small shop. Qian Jinfeng had been standing at the door waiting for Yin all morning. When she saw Yin, her eyes lit up. Yang, over here. Yin slowly stopped the car. Aunt Qian. Qian Jinfeng smiled and said, Yang, why did you finish the stall so late today? Yin said, I went to the vegetable market. Qian Jinfeng nodded, then said, Yang, didn't we talk about raising the rent a few days ago? I originally told you it was 2 yuan a month, but after thinking about it, I felt that 2 yuan was a bit too little. After all, you make that much money in a day. You can't let me watch you eat meat, right? After all, if you didn't have my shop to store your things, you wouldn't be able to earn as much money. Qian Jinfeng talked a lot. The point was that Yin was able to earn money because of their house. Yin smiled faintly, directly interrupted Qian Jinfeng. So what are you implying, Auntie? Qian Jinfeng licked her lips. What I mean is I want to raise the rent to 300. After thinking about it for a while, Qian Jinfeng decided that at least 300 yuan in rent was most appropriate. After all, Yin could earn 300 a day. 300 yuan was nothing to Yin. 300, huh? Yin asked with a smile. Yes. Qian Jinfeng nodded eagerly. Yin is still looking cheerful, her attractive peach blossom eyes shining like stars, and the corner of her mouth curled up in a light smile. But the words she said made Qian Jinfeng almost die of anger. She said in a clear and slow tone, Andy, why don't you rob someone? Qian Jinfeng replied angrily, Is 300 too much? If we weren't renting you a place, could you earn as much money as you do? 300 it is, not a cent less. If you don't rent, there are plenty others who will. This she-devil Yin went too far. She earned 300 yuan a day, but now she doesn't even want to spend 300 yuan on rent. Yin smiled lightly. Auntie, then you should rent it to someone else. What? Qian Jinfeng looked at Yin in disbelief. Was Yin not renting it? No, Yin, what do you mean? Yin continued. Since your corner is in high demand, they'll give it to others. I have business to attend to. Goodbye. She's leaving? Yin just left like that? Qian Jinfeng then remembered that Yin hadn't brought any tables and chairs over today. Qian Jinfeng panicked and yelled, Yin, do you mean you're not renting it? Yin's voice floated back with the wind. Yes, not renting. Not renting? Qian Jinfeng panicked and her legs went soft. Watching Yin getting further away, she shouted anxiously, Yang, don't leave. If you think it's too expensive, it'll take 200 from you. If it really doesn't work, 100 is also fine. 50, 30, 20, but Yin showed no sign of turning back. Qian Jinfeng stamped her foot and nearly cried. Even 10 would be fine. But all that responded to her was a gentle breeze. People always want more than they can have. Li Wei walked over. Mom, I told you a long time ago, Yin is not a fool. She will not let others slaughter her. 300. Even her own son wanted to scold Qian Jinfeng when he heard the number, let alone Yin. Qian Jinfeng said angrily, You always take sides against your mother. Just wait and see. That fox and Yin will definitely come back and beg me. Unless she doesn't want to do business anymore. By then, don't say 300. One won't rent to her even if she offers 600. Li Wei said. What if an Yin has already found another place? Mom, don't forget, we're not the only ones who run a shop on this street. And an Yin was just storing some tables and chairs, and it didn't take up much space. A rent of 1 yuan a month is already quite high. Upon hearing these words, Qian Jinfeng drooped completely. Yeah, why didn't she think about these things? Wang Meifeng took Yang Guobao back to the city. When Yang Changzheng was about to open the door after hearing the knock on the courtyard, Zhou Suhua stopped him. Wait, let me see who it is first. When she lifted the curtain and saw Wang Meifeng leading Yang Guobao, Zhou Suhua's face immediately sank. No one is allowed to open the door today. I must make Wang Meifeng admit her mistake. Zhou Suhua sat on the sofa in the living room, angry. I told her long ago that the 3-0 barefoot doctor in the countryside was no good. She didn't listen to me. Now, there's a problem. She knows to come back. Huh? What was she doing before? Chapter 138, Making Skincare Products. Visiting to say thanks, Zhou Suhua was on the brink of being enraged to death by Wang Meifeng. What a wasteful woman. Even though she went to college, she was fooled by a naive girl. This is a total disgrace to her. Is the divine doctor inferior to a naive girl? The more Zhou Suhua thinks about it, the angrier she gets. Torn between his wife and his mother, Yang Changzheng is caught in a dilemma. Mom, now that Meifeng has realized her mistake, please forgive her. Realized her mistake? Zhou Suhua snorts coldly. Does she look like she's sorry? First, she wants to leave without saying a word, and now she wants to come back just like that. Does she think our Yang family's doors are that easily accessible? This time, if one don't make her suffer a little, she will never understand who is the mother-in-law and who is the wife. Saying this, Zhou Suhua's eyes suddenly teared up. Poor little Guobao, such an innocent child, suffered for 3 whole months with her mother out there. Guobao's health was already bad, yet he was tormented by Wang Meifeng. Without a doubt, Yang Guobao's condition has now worsened. Hence Wang Meifeng must have brought Yang Guobao back home. Yang Changzheng sighed. For Guobao's sake, could you bear to see him standing outside? Yang Guobao is the eldest grandson of the Yang family. Of course, Zhou Suhua couldn't bear it. Yet, she was just so angry. Every time she thought about Wang Meifeng not listening to her elders, she became even angrier. She is Guobao's grandmother. Would she harm Guobao? If it weren't for Wang Meifeng's stubbornness, would Guobao have to go through all this sufferings? Zhou Suhua picked up her cup and sipped some tea. Let's wait a bit more. Standing outside for a while won't kill them. Seeing his mother like this, Yang Changzheng was upset, pacing back and forth in the room, wanting to go open the door, but not daring to do so. Outside, Yang Guobao was peeping towards the inside, anxiously saying, Mom, why is no one opening the door? Is Grandma not at home? Wang Meifeng knew her mother-in-law's temper. She brushed Yang Guobao's small head. Let's wait a bit more. Grandma will come and open the door for us soon. Okay. Yang Guobao nodded. Mother and son waited outside for 10 more minutes. Still no one came to open the door. Some acquaintances passed by, called out, Meifeng's back. What's the matter? No one at home, or you're being denied entry? Wang Meifeng's mother-in-law was notoriously dominating. And this time Wang Meifeng was in the wrong too. She was wrong to take Yang Guobao away, regardless of anyone else's opinion. Wang Meifeng smiled and said, I think there's no one home. 111 wait a bit more. The acquaintance carried on. How is Guobao now? Is he better? Wang Meifeng nodded. Guobao is healed now. Yang Guobao immediately puffed up his chest. That's right, Aunt Zhou, I'm all healed now. Upon hearing this, Aunt Zhou looked at Yang Guobao in astonishment. Really? Not fooling me? Wang Meifeng replied. How could one possibly deceive you about such a thing? There are only 2 things in the world that you can't hide. One is poverty. The other is sickness. Aunt Zhou carefully looked at Guobao's little face. Guobao used to always be ill, so his face was pale and dull, looking like a sickly child. But now, Guobao looked indeed different. Not only has his little face turned rosy, but his big shiny eyes, like a kitten's, exuded vitality. Who would consider him a sick child now? My goodness! Aunt Jo couldn't help exclaiming, that barefoot doctor really is something, so talented. A disease that doctors in the city couldn't cure was healed by a barefoot doctor. If she didn't see it with her own eyes, Aunt Jo wouldn't have believed it. Yang Guobao patted his chest. Exactly, my sister and I Yang is really great. He indeed looked happier than when Aunt Jo was praising him. Aunt Jo said again, Mei Feng, I heard from your mother-in-law that the barefoot doctor is just a teenage girl. Is this true? Wang Meifeng nodded. It's true, Yang Yang is just 17 years old this year, but her medical skills are outstanding. Without her, Guobao wouldn't be here today. Hearing this, Aunt Jo was filled with admiration. What a marvel! Meifeng, it was your good fortune to meet this little doctor. You must remember to thank her appropriately. Yes, Wang Meifeng continued. Don't worry, one will. Because the conversation was across a courtyard, Zhou Suhua didn't hear it very clearly. She could only vaguely make out Divine Doctor. Chapter 139, Making Skincare Products, Door-to-Door Gratitude _2. A Divine Doctor? Could it be that Yang Guobao is really fine now? But on the other hand, where in the world are there so many divine doctors? Even Dr. Wang, the imperial physician, does not dare to call himself a divine doctor. It must be Wang Meifeng trying to find a way to get herself in. Mom, Yang Changzheng looked at Zhou Suhua again. Can I go open the door now? It's been 15 minutes. Go ahead, Zhou Suhua continued, but it's not because of Wang Meifeng. I'm only opening the door because of my great-grandson. And let me tell you this, if Wang Meifeng doesn't apologize for what she did to my great-grandson, I won't let her off the hook. All right. Grateful, as if he just received a pardon, Yang Changzheng ran out to open the door. As soon as Yang Changzheng opened the gate, Yang Guobao, like a monkey, jumped on him. Dad, I missed you so much. Yang Guobao, who used to be sickly, was never this lively or energetic. Yang Changzheng was stunned. Guobao, you? Yang Guobao excitedly said, Dad, I'm better. No one will call me sickly again. Really better? Yang Changzheng tilted his head to look at Wang Meifeng. Wang Meifeng nodded. Yang Changzheng shouted excitedly, hugging Yang Guobao and running toward the house. Mom, Guobao is better. Guobao is better. Zhou Suhua stood up inside the house, her eyes filled with tears. Better? Is her great-grandson really better? Mom, Guobao is better. Yang Changzheng, holding Yang Guobao, rushed into the house and stood in front of Zhou Suhua. Zhou Suhua croaked out, Is he really better? Grandma, I really am better. Yang Changzheng slapped his chest. Look at how strong I am, like a little calf. 3 months had passed, and Yang Guobao had not only grown taller, but he also got stronger, no longer skinny and frail like before. Zhou Suhua stretched out her hands, her voice trembling. Come, let grandmother hug you. Yang Guobao reached out and threw himself into his grandmother's arms. Yang Guobao used to weigh only 30 pounds at 7 years old, light as a feather when lifting him, but now he was heavy. Wang Meifeng said from the side, Mom, don't worry, Guobao is really better. He hasn't had an episode for over 2 months while staying at my mom's house, and Yang also checked him and said that Guobao will have a healthy body, just like a normal child in the future. Could such a young girl really be that capable? Zhou Suhua was still a little uneasy. We should take Guobao to Dr. Wang for a checkup. What if that girl had used some forbidden drugs to create the illusion that Yang Guobao was temporarily okay? Wang Meifeng knew her mother-in-law's temperament and what she was worried about. Yang was indeed competent, and they were not afraid of getting checked again. Mom, if you're not at ease, let's go to Dr. Wang. Zhou Suhua held Yang Guobao and said, Let's go now. Yang Changzheng found the car keys, and the family of 4 hurriedly left the house. The car was fast, and they quickly arrived at Dr. Wang's private clinic. Since it was the afternoon, there were not many people at Dr. Wang's place. Seeing Wang Meifeng and Zhou Suhua come in, Dr. Wang stroked his small goatee, helplessly saying, "I've already told you, epilepsy has no cure. It can only be alleviated. Why are you here again? Isn't this a waste of time?" From ancient times to the present, there has never been a case of an epilepsy patient fully recovering. Upon hearing his words, Zhou Sua's heart sank. She was even more convinced that Ni Yin had fed a banned drug to Yang Guobao. Wang Meifeng, if something bad happens to my grandson today, I won't let you get away with it. Yang Guobao hugged Zhou Sua's neck. "Grandma, you can't yell at Mom like this. I'm really better." Dr. Wang sighed and shook his head helplessly. Wang Meifeng wasn't angry and instead smiled. "There's always someone better out there, Dr. Wang. Just because you couldn't cure the disease doesn't mean others can't." Dr. Wang was thoroughly infuriated. Ridiculous. My grandfather was once an imperial physician. Imperial physicians are the ones who treated the emperor. If my grandfather couldn't cure epilepsy, could a country bumpkin do it? Wang Meifeng said with a smile. Just because of these conservative people, the Qing dynasty ended up collapsing. If your grandfather had been a little more modest, perhaps he would still be an imperial physician. Dr. Wang was so angry that his beard was bristling. Nonsense. Chapter 140, Making Skincare Products, Home Visit to Express Gratitude _3. Wang Meifeng smiled and said, "Whether it's nonsense or a miracle, Dr. Wang will know once he examines Guobao." Dr. Wang took a seat on the chair and gestured towards Yang Guobao. "Come here, young man." Yang Guobao sat opposite Dr. Wang and extended his hand. Dr. Wang began to take his pulse. The atmosphere became tense as Dr. Wang's eyebrows furrowed deeper and deeper, a look of disbelief in his eyes. "Impossible. This can't be possible. How could there be someone in the world who can cure epilepsy?" Zhou Suhua, standing on the side, nervously wiped her tears. "Dr. Wang, is Guobao all right?" Dr. Wang didn't speak. He just gave Zhou Suhua a look asking her to stay quiet. Seeing this, Zhou Suhua became even more nervous. Was Yang Guobao beyond help? If that was the case, she was ready to fight Wang Meifeng till the end. To be certain his diagnosis was not flawed, Dr. Wang checked several times before looking up at Wang Meifeng. "Can you show me your medicinal prescription for last time?" Wang Meifeng nodded and took out her prescription from her bag. After looking for a long time, he found nothing unusual. This prescription, in his view, contained only common ingredients. At most, it could be used as a supplement. How could it have the effect of curing epilepsy? Dr. Wang took a deep breath. Looking at Wang Meifeng, he steadied his voice. "Are you sure your child wasn't taking any other medicine while he was taking this?" Wang Meifeng nodded. "I am sure. She personally brewed the medicine. How could there be a mistake?" "Amazing, truly amazing," exclaimed Dr. Wang. "The ancient medicine of China is truly miraculous." Zhou Suhua blinked, then asked, "Dr. Wang, what do you mean?" Dr. Wang looked at Zhou Suhua and said, "Congratulations to you all. Guobao and your family has been completely cured. He will never have a seizure again." What? Cured? Really cured? Dr. Wang, are you serious?" Zhou Suhua nearly thought she was hallucinating. Dr. Wang, looking somewhat annoyed, said, "Although I, Wang, am not as skilled as some, I've never lied. If it wasn't for seeing it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed that there was a cure for epilepsy. It seemed there really were people beyond people, and sky beyond sky." Zhou Suhua was overcome with joy, crying as she hugged Yang Guobao, unable to form a single word. Yang Guobao patted Zhou Suhua on the back, comforting her. "Grandma, be good, don't cry." Dr. Wang looked towards Wang Meifeng. "Comrade, could you introduce me to the young divine doctor who cured Guobao? I have some medical questions I would like to ask." Dr. Wang was not a blindly arrogant man. Facing a truly skilled doctor, he sincerely wanted to learn and improve his own medical skills. Wang Meifeng smiled and said, "I can't make the decision on her behalf. When I get the chance, I'll ask her for you." This matter still had to be agreed upon by Ni Yang. Otherwise, what would it mean to bring Dr. Wang to Ni Yang's home uninvited? Wang Meifeng was not someone who was inconsiderate. Dr. Wang nodded, expressing his understanding. "Then what's your phone number? I'll make a note of it." Wang Meifeng wrote her number down for Dr. Wang. After leaving Dr. Wang's clinic, Zhou Suhua was still tear-streaked. She had never imagined that Yang Guobao's disease would truly be cured. Yang Guobao was 7 years old this year. He had been sick for 7 long years, sometimes even falling ill twice a day when it was severe. Because of this, although he was the age to begin school, Yang Guobao had yet to make it. He also didn't have any friends willing to play with him, except for Mo Hudi, who shared the same affliction. As his grandmother, Zhou Suhua was heartbroken every time she thought of these things. "Mom, stop crying. The storm is over now," Wang Meifeng comforted. She knew her mother-in-law's temper, and she knew Wang Meifeng was angry because she was worried about Yang Guobao. Zhou Suhua hugged Wang Meifeng, her voice choked with emotion. "I'm sorry, Meifeng. I'm sorry for how I treated you in Guobao." If Wang Meifeng had not insisted on taking Yang Guobao for treatment in the countryside, they would have missed the opportunity for his recovery. Speaking of recovery, it really was like a rebirth. This was a new life for Yang Guobao. Every time Zhou Suhua thought about what could have happened if Wang Meifeng had capitulated to her, she felt a wave of fear. Chapter 141, Making Skincare Products, Door-to-Door Appreciation _4. Thankfully, none of that happened. Thankfully, it was her being too domineering. It was her who had wronged Wang Meifeng and her son. Her domineering nature nearly caused the death of Yang Guobao. "I've been a wicked mother-in-law. Meifeng, I'm sorry. I won't be like this anymore." "Mom, it's all right," Wang Meifeng continued. "I don't blame you. You don't have to speak ill of yourself." Hearing Wang Meifeng say this, Zhou Suhua was moved beyond words. She never thought her daughter-in-law could forgive her. At the moment, her guilt became even deeper. "Meifeng, thank you." Zhou Suhua held Wang Meifeng's hand, shedding tears of gratitude. "Thank you for forgiving me." Yang Changzheng said from the side. "Meifeng, me too. I need to apologize to you. I'm not a good father. I failed you and our son. If Wang Meifeng were as weak as him, then Yang Guobao would have been truly hopeless." Thinking about this, Yang Changzheng fell into endless self-reproach. "You really aren't a good father." Wang Meifeng looked up at Yang Changzheng. "Guobao and I were in the countryside for so long. Did you visit us once? Write us a letter? Make a single phone call? Ask yourself, what kind of husband are you? What kind of father are you?" Her husband was good at everything, but he listened to his mother too much. Whatever Zhou Suhua said, Yang Changzheng didn't dare to oppose. All decisions, big and small, were made by Zhou Suhua. Wang Meifeng wasn't someone to be bullied easily. She could let things slide with her mother-in-law as a senior, but not with her husband. She had to use this opportunity to make Yang Changzheng reflect. Hearing this, Yang Changzheng hung his head even lower. Zhou Suhua spoke tearfully. "Meifeng, don't blame Changzheng. It's all my fault. I stopped Changzheng from visiting you." Wang Meifeng continued, "Mom, don't interfere in this. Changzheng is 30 years old, not 3. He should have grown up long ago and be capable of making independent decisions. He can't rely on you for his whole life. What if one day you're not here anymore? Who's he going to rely on then?" Upon hearing these words, Zhou Suhua immediately hung her head in shame. Their son was already a married man. She really shouldn't interfere so much. She should give her son and daughter-in-law their own space. With a stern face, Wang Meifeng warned, "Yang Changzheng, if you continue like this, we should stop living together." Hearing this, Zhou Suhua was about to intervene, but recalling Wang Meifeng's words, she shut her mouth. She would never interfere in her son and daughter-in-law's matters again. Yang Changzheng immediately held up 3 fingers, promising, "Meifeng, rest assured I won't do that anymore. From now on, you'll be in charge at home. I will listen to you, and I swear, if you say go east, I will never go west." Wang Meifeng's expression softened a bit. "Let's see how you perform." Finally, Yang Changzheng sighed with relief. "So, Meifeng, you forgive me?" "I already told you it depends on your performance," Wang Meifeng continued. "Let's go home now." Yang Changzheng nodded. The 4 of them got into the car. When the car arrived at a big mall, Zhou Suhua said, "Changzheng, stop for a moment." "What's the matter, Mom?" Yang Changzheng looked back. Do you need to buy something? Zhou Suhua continued. Thanks to the young divine Dr. Enai Yang, Guobao is now healed. We can't forget our benefactor. Tomorrow, let's go to Jinghua village personally to thank the young divine Dr. Enai Yang. Right now, Zhou Suhua was most grateful to Enai Yang. She even changed her nickname from the barefoot doctor to the young divine Dr. Enai Yang. Okay. Wang Meifeng nodded in agreement. You're always so thoughtful, Mom. The four of them went into the mall. Because Enai Yang had saved Yang Guobao, Zhou Suhua was not worried about spending money. She chose expensive items, including fruit and nutritional supplements. Upon learning that Enai Yang had a little sister who was just over 3 months old, Zhou Suhua spent 980 yuan and bought 2 small gold bracelets and a longevity lock. In addition, Zhou Suhua also bought quite a few things for Gobeo's grandparents. It's worth noting that Zhou Suhua used to look down on villages in the past and never treated Gobeo's grandparents as if they were her own family. In Zhou Suhua's eyes, she always thought that Wang Meifeng marrying Yang Changzheng was marrying above her station. But that would not be the case anymore. From now on, she will strive to be a good mother-in-law, good grandmother. Noticing the change in her mother-in-law, Wang Meifeng suddenly felt that all the grievances she suffered in the past were nothing. The Enai family's courtyard. Enai Yang and Enai Suehua were sitting by the well, washing vegetables and chatting. Chapter 142, Making Skincare Products, Home Visit to Thank _5. Little Enai Yun lay in her cradle nearby, holding a rattle and a little yellow duck, playing on her own, neither crying nor being troublesome, behaving very well. The courtyard seemed incredibly warm and cozy. The task of washing 200 pounds of vegetables was time-consuming. By the time Enai Yang finished washing and salting the vegetables, it was already past 5 in the afternoon, and the sun began its descent. Enai Yang then started preparing dinner. When she saw the green peas the boss had given her while buying vegetables earlier, she suddenly had an idea. First, she peeled off the peas, scooped up 2 ladles of glutinous rice, washed them, and soaked them in a casserole. Then, Enai Yang found the cured meat she had bought a few days ago, cut them into pieces, and sautéed them in a pan. She then added green onions, ginger, garlic, and soy sauce to enhance the flavor, followed by adding the peas and stir-frying them together. Once they were about 70% cooked, she scooped the sautéed cured meat and peas into the casserole with the rice, and finally stove-cooked it to make a rice casserole. This is known as cured meat and green peas casserole rice, a variation of the traditional clay pot rice. After the main course was prepared, Enai Yang began to prepare side dishes. She pulled out the menu. Tonight's main dishes were 1. Stir-fried spicy bamboo shoots. Compendium of Materia Medica states, bamboo shoots are mainly used to quench thirst and benefit the urinary tract. Bamboo shoots can reduce intestinal cholesterol absorption, lower blood lipids, prevent constipation, and effectively eliminate waste and toxins from the body. They are excellent weight loss foods that can effectively maintain perfect body shape. They had eaten a lot of meat these past few days. It's just right to have bamboo shoots to control body shape and prevent weight gain. Beef bone marrow stewed egg. The eggs were those sent by Peng Hu in the morning, and the beef bone marrow was from the big beef bones Enai Yang bought at the vegetable market yesterday, which were filled with marrow. Compendium of Materia Medica states, beef bone marrow moisturizes the lungs, nourishes the kidneys, moisturizes the skin, and brightens the complexion. Therefore, beef bone marrow can effectively moisturize the skin. After deciding on the 2 main dishes, she only needed to make a soup. When she saw the tofu that Tai Dawn mother had sent over, Enai Yang suddenly thought of vegetable tofu soup. Yes, she decided to make a vegetable tofu soup. Enai Yang immediately rolled up her sleeves and started cooking. The night gradually darkened, and the fragrance in the small kitchen became stronger. In no time, the perfect set of 2 dishes and a soup was ready, and together with the glutinous rice cooked with cured meat and peas, there was more than enough for the 3 of them. Due to the addition of cured meat and peas, the glutinous rice was very delicious. Biting into it, it was soft and sticky, and when you bit into a pea, there was a burst of flavor making it extremely delicious. The vegetable tofu soup balanced out the greasiness of the glutinous rice, so delicious it made one question life. And Changue exclaimed, Yang Yang, how many delicious foods can you cook? She felt that every dish Yang cooked every day was different, and each dish was staggering in its taste. Even a simple vegetable tofu soup tasted extraordinarily delicious when Yang cooked it. Yang just smiled. Actually, I'm only cooking what I know how to cook. Changue said, Yang Yang, I suspect you can cook a Manchu Han imperial feast, but I have no evidence. Yang laughed lightly. No, I just know a little bit more than most people. Changue laughed and said, Yang Yang, you are just too modest. Yang held up a piece of bamboo shoot. Modesty is a virtue. Tsewa jokingly said from his side, Sister Changue, don't praise this girl anymore. If you continue to praise her, her little tail will rise to the sky. After dinner, Yang returned to her room and counted the money she had left. Excluding the 25,400 yuan used to buy the shop, the 930 paid to the workers, and the everyday expenses of the last few days, she had 2,550 yuan in total. With 2,550 yuan, besides not being able to buy big items like a fridge or a color TV, she had more than enough to equip her business with the other necessities. Therefore, she was not in a hurry to make money at the moment, planning to spend this month on recuperation and recharge. When a new shop opens, there will be plenty to do. Moreover, she did not expect to make a living solely from selling noodles. Yang has big ambitions, having lived for 2 lifetimes. She either does not do something or does it to the best. She will blaze a trail and create a golden era that belongs to Yang. That night, Yang probably had the best sleep since her rebirth. She slept until past 6 in the morning, never getting up at 3 in the morning anymore, unlike her old routine when she had to get up to set up her stall. Meanwhile, Daju and Lu Wan woke up early and took a rare day off. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.